Series. Hoping to derail that notion, though, are the Seattle Mariners. And in order to do it, they have to do what they did to the Yankees in the playoffs 5 years ago. Beat them 3 straight games. On that occasion, after losing the first 2 in the Bronx, they came home and won 3 straight. What they're trying to do now will be more difficult. Down 3-1 on a best of 7. They won Game 5 at home. Now they come to New York for Game 6. And they hope Game 7. And welcome to Game 6 with Joe Morgan. I'm Bob Costas. Let's get this straight. You come to Yankee Stadium, you take the 4. That's the L. You go into Shea Stadium, you take the 7 train. Something else about this series. Each team has suffered through long droughts, punctuated by big innings.
Well, neither team has been consistent offensively, but they've both used big innings to turn the momentum in their favor. In Game 2, it was the Yankees. They had a 7-run 8th inning after losing the first game. That put them into command. In Game 5 was a 5-run 5th inning by the Mariners that extended this to the 6th game. And tonight we'll have to see which offense shows up. Someone will have to step up because A-Rod from the right side was big, and Edgar Martinez was big from the right side on Sunday. John Olerud also added a home run. But against a guy like El Duque, you're going to have some left-handed bats in the lineup because he's very difficult to hit from the right side.
Hernandez was a subpar 12 and 13 during the regular season. But once the calendar turns to October, he responds. Nobody has ever put an L next to his name in the playoffs or World Series.
Well, the great thing about him is that he hides the ball very well in his motion. He has a high leg kick, but that's not just for show. That hides the baseball. Then he throws 3/4. He'll drop down even more, throw some sidearm pitches. He throws from a lot of different angles, and he will throw all of his pitches from those positions. And what that does is really causes a problem for the right-handed hitters to pick the ball up out of his motion. That's why the left-handers are going to have to be successful for the Mariners tonight.
His opponent tonight, as he was in Game 2, is John Halama. Halama was 14-9 for the year. He beat the Yankees twice during the regular season. And as you see, he threw 6 shutout innings, allowing only 5 hits in Game 2. When he left, he was on the long end of a 1-0 score. The Yankees won it against his bullpen, so Halama got a no decision.
Well, he matches up well against the Yankees, first because he's left-handed. Second, because he has a changeup and a great overhand curveball. And he can spot his fastball. Those are the traits that Lou Piniella feels you have to have to hold this Yankee offense down.
And speaking of Lou Piniella, here he is with Jim Gray.
The Mariners have proven that they can win 3 games in a row. They did it in '95 in the divisional series. Now 1 down, 2 to go. You getting a little annoyed that everything that you see around here is already talking about a Subway Series, Lou?
Well, they're excited, naturally. This is New York, and the Mets did their part yesterday. Now the newspapers and the media in general are hoping that the Yankees do theirs. But what I said prior to and say now is why not an all-wildcard World Series? That's never happened in baseball.
Purists will love that.
No, they won't like it, I'm sure. But still, the Mets played very well against St. Louis and against San Francisco to get here, and hopefully we'll do the same here with the Yankees.
Now, you're taking a bit of a risk tonight. You're going with all left-handers. Is that the only way you feel you can score some runs against Orlando Hernandez?
Well, we feel our matchups are better that way. Hernandez has been exceedingly tough on right-hand hitting all year, and we've loaded up with all our left-handers. We've mixed and matched all year, so basically this would be a lineup that we would play during the course of the season.
Seattle weather tonight, that going to help you?
Let's hope so. We got some drizzly weather, and it's cold.
All right, Lou, best of luck to you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, let's send it across the way to the Yankees dugout with Jimmy Roberts.
Joe, on the surface, this would seem to be a no-brainer. You've got a guy who is virtually infallible in the postseason. You're at home, Game 6. They're 3,000 miles away. But it's also a dangerous situation, isn't it? Because they virtually have nothing to lose. They're throwing all lefties at you tonight, too.
Well, you know, again, Jimmy, it's our job to do. And we have it where we want it as far as being at home. Having El Duque has done a heck of a job for us in the past. We still need to do it. You know, on paper is one thing. You have to win it on the field.
Is it harder, actually, to be in a situation like this where you're supposed to win?
Well, we've been there before. We'd like to believe we're supposed to win all the time. I mean, that's the confidence of this ball club. and hopefully the rain stays away where we can stay out in the field and get the job done. That's what we need to do. We need to knock in runs, and we need to get the opposition out pitching-wise.
Any possible hangover from the offensive slump from the other night, or actually I should say from what we saw from them offensively the other night?
Well, I think their offense came alive in the middle. That's always a concern, and then hopefully El Duque can control that. I don't think we had a slump. We left a lot of guys on base. I thought we had a great approach. We just didn't get the hit when we needed to put it away. But again, that's why you have the best teams playing in postseason play. It's not that easy.
All right, Joe, thanks for joining us. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Jim.
Bob, back up to you.
Jimmy, thanks. Now, once again, for all you tourists, it's the 7 train to Shea Stadium, the 4 train to Yankee Stadium, and that guy in Times Square trying to sell you a watch, it's not really a Rolex. Back after these messages and a word from your local station.
This has been the Sun America NBC pregame show. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
2 of the game's premier players have been featured in this series. The all-star shortstops, Rodriguez and Jeter. As you mostly know, they are tremendously good friends. They're close buddies in this series. Jeter has hit .333 with 2 homers and 5 RBIs. A-Rod .294 with a homer and 3 RBIs. The Yankees are fairly certain Jeter will be here for a long time. The M's and their fans less certain about the future of Alex Rodriguez, who is a free agent as soon as Seattle's postseason concludes. Here's the MasterCard starting lineup for the Seattle Mariners. Predominantly left-handed. Switch hitters mixed in, who of course will bat left-handed against Hernandez, the only righty bats. The 3 and 4 guys, Rodriguez and Martinez and Wilson, their catcher at the bottom. They have no left-handed hitting catcher on the roster.
And they're taking a slight chance defensively because they do not have a true center fielder in the lineup tonight. And there's Orlando Hernandez, El Duque. And the one thing he'll have to do tonight is throw strikes early in the count. And the first time he pitched against the Mariners in this series, he was a little erratic, but he made good pitches when he needed to make them, which was kind of like Andy Pettit. He did the same thing. So they know how to pitch out of tough situations, but he's going to try to avoid getting into tough situations this time because he has more left-handed bats to face in the Seattle Mariner lineup. And let's take a look at the defense. And Scott Brocious has the only Yankee error in this entire series. So that tells you how good the Yankees have played defensively. And they've made some great plays in the field as well. So this is a solid Yankee defense that you're looking at in this ball game.
The Yankees obviously want to win tonight first and foremost simply to clinch the pennant and not run the risk of having to play a deciding 7th game where there would be tremendous pressure. But also, should they win tonight, their pitching rotation would fall into place nicely for the World Series. Pettit would start Game 1 on Saturday, undoubtedly followed by Clemens in Game 2. Then they could pitch Clemens in the 6th game, and Joe Torre would never have to use him at Shea Stadium, where the pitcher would have to bat, and where Clemens would be subject to reprisals for what happened during the regular season in interleague play when he beaned Mike Piazza. Then El Duque would come back in Game 3, probably Nagel in Game 4, and then Pettit, Clemens, El Duque if 5, 6, and 7 are necessary. It's 50 degrees as game time approaches, and there is rain in the forecast.
Bob, the main reason you do not want to face a 7th game is because anything can happen in a 7th game. A bad bounce, a wind-blown pop-up, anything can cause you to lose the ball game. And so if you're the Yankees, tonight is your 7th game. You play it like it's the 7th game.
Then I guess that goes double for Seattle. Strike 1 to Stan Javier. John Hirschbeck has the plate. Angel Hernandez at first. Fieldin Culbreth at second. Mark Hirschbeck, John's younger brother, is at third. Left field line, Wally Bell. Right field line, Jerry Davis. Shot to Brocious. Across the diamond, 1 out. Over the last 2 years, as they won back-to-back World Series and swept both fall classics, The Yankees blitzed through the postseason 22-3. They have already lost more games than that in the first 2 rounds of this year's playoffs.
Well, it just points out the fact, Bob, that they're not a great team anymore. They're a good team, and they're good enough to win it all, but they're just not able to run through opponents as they did 2 years ago and last year.
A light rain has begun to fall. Al Martin steps in. Martin's double on Saturday was the only hit off Roger Clemens in his 15 strikeout complete game performance. This is the 12th playoff series the Yankees have been in under Joe Torre. In the first 11, they only went to a deciding game twice. In 1997, they lost Game 5 of the division series at Cleveland. Fouled back 2-1. And this year, they had to go cross-country to play Game 5 in Oakland and survive it. So generally, they've had some breathing room. They won't if they lose tonight. 2 strikes. As the raindrops fall, you know that both managers dread a scenario with rain delays where it may get to a point where you can't send your starter back out there, or if the game is called off before it's official, you used up your scheduled Game 6 starter. Full count to Al Martin.
And that's a pitch I expect us to see a lot of tonight from El Duque. That's the changeup. He normally does not go with the changeup. He goes with a fastball and a backdoor slider. But he started to use the changeup a lot more the last few starts, and it becomes very effective against left-handed pitching. Left-handed hitting.
With A-Rod on deck, the 3-2 pitch. Just missed the corner, and Martin is aboard.
Martin had a good swing at the 2-0 fastball, tried to pull it, so El Duque tries to get the outside corner and keep the ball away from Martin, and you see he gets it off, and that's a big pull there by Posada. Watch his hand. Watch how much he tries to pull this ball. I mean, you're not going to get any umpire to get that call when you move it that much.
In his career, Alex Rodriguez is 2 for 12 with 6 strikeouts against Orlando Hernandez.
You can expect both sides, both teams to have a better idea of how to attack these pitchers, because this is the second time they've seen them in this series, and they know what they tried to do to them and how they were successful last time, so they will try to make adjustments. I think if you're hitting against El Duque, you have to try to hit him early in the count. Try to pick out the fastball and jump on it early in the count.
Fouls it back on the first pitch.
And that's one of the things that Lou Piniella felt his team was not doing early in this series. In hitters' counts, they were not aggressive, not trying to take advantage of the pitchers. But you go up there, you pick out a pitch. So I'm going to look for a fastball in, or I'm going to look for a breaking ball. And if you get it, then you try to drive the ball.
The 0-1 to A-Rod. Martin is running. Line drive. Fair ball down the line. Martin heads for third. Rodriguez should have a double. Martin's being waved home by Boa. He's going to score, and it's 1-0 Seattle.
And that's what we're talking about. You see Rodriguez more aggressive, attacking the ball rather than just trying to hit a line drive someplace. Very aggressive, and the base hit he got Sunday really was a similar base hit that he pulled the ball. He jumps on this fastball. See, there it is, a fastball, and he just really clubs it down the left field line into the corner, and Martin scores easily. He's off with the pitch, and he scores easily from first base. And the Mariners have scored quickly, and they have a runner in score position for Edgar Martinez.
Going into tonight's game, Orlando Hernandez had allowed only 8 runs in 8 previous postseason starts. Seattle gets to him for at least 1 in the first. Strike 1 to Edgar.
Edgar Martinez and A-Rod are 2 right-handers that are going to have to hit him, but they have a lot of left-handed support in this lineup. I expect them to at least attack him a little better than they did in the first ball game.
The 0-1 pitch is lined to left. That's in for a hit. Seattle tacks another one on. Martinez wants a double as Rodriguez scores. Back-to-back 2-baggers by their 3 and 4 hitters, and they rough up El Duque in the first.
Another high pitch from El Duque. The pitch to Alex Rodriguez was a high fastball over the middle of the plate. This is a breaking ball, a hanging curveball. See, it's just rolling. It doesn't do a lot. It's not the sharp breaking curveball that he normally throws. Edgar didn't hit this ball that hard, but he pulled it down the line. Hit it toward the end of the bat. It was a little bit out in front, but he gets the job done, and the Mariners are off to a quick start. And this is what they needed to quiet this crowd and to give themselves some confidence in Game 6.
And they are hushed at Yankee Stadium right now as Olerud stands in. Ball 1 to Olerud, who hit .285 for the year. Had a single, a homer, a sacrifice fly, and was robbed of a home run by Bernie Williams in Game 5 Sunday. 2-0. Despite falling in a 3-1 hole in this series, Alex Rodriguez and company, overall, regular and postseason combined, have won 8 of 15 against the Yankees. They're not lacking in confidence here. In the air to deep center, Bernie Williams is going to track it down. Martinez tags at second, moves to third with 2 out.
You can watch the pitches from El Duque, and all of them are up. The ones he was hurt on by Edgar Martinez and A-Rod was up. This pitch is right there in the middle of the plate. John Olerud just does not hit it well, but he had a good pitch to hit. El Duque is giving the Mariners a lot of good pitches to hit here in the first inning.
Now the right fielder, Raul Ibanez. Ibanez is in right, Martin in left, and Stan Javier is in center. Defensively, Lou Piniella is giving up a lot by benching Cameron. In exchange for another left-handed bat, swing and a miss, strike 1.
Lou feels that he has to score runs here at Yankee Stadium, and I agree with him. I actually like the lineup changes because I think it's a psychological thing for El Duque to look, and every time he looks up in clutch situations, it's a left-handed hitter.
1-1 to Ibanez. Mike Cameron, Jay Buhner, David Bell, Ricky Henderson, among others, riding the pine at the outset of Game 6. A ball and 2 strikes.
But if you notice, most of the pitches are up. Even though he gets away with this fastball, it's still up. It's up high enough that Ibanez can't catch up with it. That pitch is 5 or 6 inches lower. Ibanez hits it. And I'd have to think that he was trying to get that pitch down because there was only 1 strike on Ibanez.
El Duque's 1-2 offering is up and in. In his Game 2 start, which he in effect left after 8 innings of work trailing 1-0, then the Yankees rallied with 7 in the bottom of the 8th to make him the winner. The Mariners had scoring chances in 5 of their 8 turns at bat against Hernandez and just couldn't come through with runners in scoring position. The first inning tonight, a different story. And the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Now, psychologically, 3-0 seems like it's twice as much as
2-0 when you're in a deficit. It's only one more run, but there's something about 3 rather than the 2 here in the first inning.
Called strike 3. Martinez is stranded at third, but doubles by Rodriguez and Edgar Martinez produce 2. To the bottom of the first in the Bronx when we come back. Now here's a look at the MasterCard starting lineup for the Yankees. And this lineup is unchanged day to day. Jeter is their starter, who has hit Halama best.
Let's take a look at the defense behind Halama. He has had 10 pickoffs this season, so his kickoff move is as effective as Andy Pettit's.
Halama went 14-9 for the year. 2 of those 14 wins at the Yankees' expense. He didn't leave New York with his teammates to go back to Seattle. They knew if he pitched again it would be in Game 6. Meanwhile, over the weekend, his sister Barbara got married. So he attended the wedding on Saturday, and even though he is a self-professed non-baseball fan, says he loves to play the game but seldom watches it, doesn't read about it in the newspaper, he admitted that he watched the games over the weekend to follow the fortunes of his teammates, and I guess as much as anything to find out if he was working tonight. A strike to Knobloch. He's cooled off in the last couple of games. 0 for 8 in games 4 and 5. One and 1. I mean no disrespect to Chuck Knobloch, but what you're looking at here is part of baseball's problem. After every pitch, Chuck Knobloch steps out, does some sort of personal inventory, and then gets back in unchanged from the previous pitch. Skies one down the line and right, chasing it in the corner. It's deep back there, and the catch is made against the 314 sign by Ibanez. It wasn't hit terribly well, but just 314 down the line pressed Ibanez back to the wall.
It's a fastball away, and he pops it up. Actually, it's just a pop-up, and you mentioned it's only 314 down the line, so it comes in very quickly. Ibanez goes back and has to make a pretty good play as you see the ball drifting back toward left field. Ibanez gets in the corner, and there it is drifting back. And that was just a pop-up, so it tells you if anything hit down the line here in the air has a chance of getting out.
So now Jeter, 339 for the season, 333 with a couple of homers in this series. A ball from Halama. Just to continue on the previous point, watch Bernie Williams after every pitch. Tino Martinez, 3-4 practice swings in between every pitch.
I think it's something that players have just developed. They just take more time, and maybe they're trying to get their concentration together, but it does add a lot of time to a game.
Along with the smaller strike zone.
Correct.
And pitchers nibbling, 2-0, 3-1. Another drive to right. Ibanez back to the track. Busy first inning for him.
He hit that one off the end of the bat, so really not a chance for it to carry. Now watch where this ball strikes out toward the end of the bat. And that's the reason that ball stayed in the ballpark. We saw him hit a home run into right field in Game 2, but that was on the fat part of the bat. That was right out there on the end.
So you put it all together, along with the lengthy breaks between innings and during pitching changes, and this is how you have 2-0 games that last almost 4 hours. As we said earlier, baseball's leisurely pace has always been one of its assets. A lethargic pace is an ongoing problem that's reaching epidemic proportions, and I think everybody in baseball is aware of it and concerned about it. Let's see what they can do about it. Ball one, the count to Justice.
Well, the Mariners' offense did their part. They gave Halama a lead early in this ballgame. which was very important. Now it's up to Alama at least to get through the first couple of innings without the Yankees scoring any runs, and that will give his team a lot of confidence as well as build his confidence.
That one's in there, 2-1.
There you see David Justice, 0 for 4, 1 for 4, 2 for 5, 1 for 3, and a big 0 for 5 in Game 5. And he has not been as consistent as he normally is. Justice is a very good hitter, even against left-handed pitching.
Before Halama threw a single pitch, the Mariners had given him more support than they gave him in the whole game last Wednesday here. He took the mound, staked to a 2-0 lead. 2 out, nobody on, and his 2-2 pitch. Swerves outside.
Lou Piniella made a funny comment before the game today. He said, looking back and having it to do all over again, he probably wouldn't take Halama out in the 6th inning at the start of the 7th inning. If he's pitching that well today, he's going to stick with him a little longer.
Although in fairness to Lou, Halama has been a 6 and at max 7-inning pitcher all year. Another high fly ball into shallow right this time. Ibanez comes in and takes care of the entire inning. After 1 at Yankee Stadium, Seattle trying to force a Game 7, leading it 2-0.
Free.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Nextel, how business gets done. Call 1-800-NEXTEL-9. By Office Max. You supply the ambition, we'll supply everything else. And by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
This live view is courtesy of the Bud One airship, seen by millions on its ongoing Goodwill Tour. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Carlos Guillen is the first man up at the top of the 2nd. He'll be followed by Mark McLemore and Dan Wilson. Strike 1 from Hernandez.
And I think Hernandez's goal this inning should be to keep the ball down. That's what got him in trouble in the 1st inning. He needs to stay down with his pitches.
Inside with that one. Brocious in close at 3rd. Rolled foul, 1-2. While we have a chance, Orlando Hernandez is the subject of the SAP player profile.
208 opponent average, 1.21 career full season. Pretty good.
And his 1-2 pitch, way high. His half-brother, Levon Hernandez, notched a victory in this postseason before the San Francisco Giants were knocked out by the Mets. He's now 5-0 in the playoffs and World Series. So combined, the Hernandez brothers are 12-0. That's unreal. Full count. That's where El Duque ranks with some others who have never been defeated in the postseason. And some, like Gomez, Combs, and Pennock, never will be. Their records are safe. Whitey Ford won 10 postseason games, all of them in the World Series, but he was beaten 8 times. He was 10-4 at one point, lost his last 4 World Series decisions. Dave Stewart, 10-6. John Smoltz, still active, 12-4. Oral Hershiser, 8-3. They're among the leaders. The second walk issued in this game by Hernandez, and that's about a full game's quota. He averages about 2 walks per 9 innings of work.
Well, at least he gets the ball down in this sequence, down for a strike. Another fastball below the belt. Just stay below the belt. Curveball down. That's the pitch that he's going to have better control of. Make sure he throws strikes with the curveball. High fastball. Then he misses with a low fastball to walking. So that's the problem that he's having is his control right now. He's up or he's off the plate inside with the left-handers.
He's working on an extra day's rest because of the days built in for travel. 5 days rest instead of 4. Any factor?
Well, he probably likes to work on 4 days rest, and sometimes they feel a little too strong at the beginning of the ball game, and that could be the reason he was getting up. But most of these pitchers have had to adjust sometime during the season, so I don't think he's been on a constant 4-day rotation the entire season. I'm sure there were times during the season where, because of rain or because of injury, he was given more than his normal 4 days rest.
He in at first with nobody out. Easy toss over. And now Posada out to talk with Hernandez. El Duque was only 12-13 for the year, and his ERA was 4.5. In fact, he came into the playoffs with 2 losses and a no decision in his last 3 outings. But in October, he's 2-0. With a win in the division series against Oakland and in Game 2 of this series against Seattle. He still hasn't come to the plate. Now he does. And that's strike 1 to McLemore.
If you're Lou Piniella, what you're trying to do is get a lot of these left-handed hitters into hitters' counts so that you can put a hit and run on. He's not going to sit around and wait for things to happen. He's going to try to make things happen.
As you see, Yankee pitchers were much more stingy early in the series than of late with the walks. High and away, 1-1.
And that's one of the things Lou Piniella talked to me about. He said the Yankee pitchers were throwing strikes, which was causing them problems. He said because they're used to, their on-base percentage is very good because they get a lot of walks, they get deep into the count, and then they can put their hit and runs on or do anything they want. And the Yankee pitchers were not allowing them to do that.
There he goes on the 1-1 pitch. It's a pitch out. He falls down in between. They've got him hung up. And goodbye. A misadventure for Guillen, and he's erased.
Well, the bench calls a pitch out. They call a pitch out here to throw down. And what happened was Guillen tried to stop and go back. He probably should have continued on through. He may have had a chance to make it. And watch, he'll stop when he sees that the hitter can't swing the bat. But he's out easily as the throw goes back to first base.
Now McLemore punches one to the opposite field, and Justice takes it.
That still will not stop Lou Piniella from hitting and running and putting runners in motion because he knows he has to do that in order to continue scoring runs here. That was a good, smart move by the Yankee bench, or they read a sign from someplace. A lot of times you can read the base runner and he will give it away, or the hitter. So someone picked it up and called the pitch out.
Here's Dan Wilson, the catcher, hitting 9th. Swinging and missing. I wish I didn't have to report this, but Dan Wilson's 2 for 58 is the lowest playoff and/or World Series batting average of anyone with an appreciable number of at-bats in the history of baseball. And it gets worse. He's 0 for his last 40. So in retrospect, the 2 for 18 he was sitting on looks pretty good. And the 0-2 pitch.
We talked about all the different release points that El Duque uses. He doesn't seem to be able to find one that's comparable for him at this point. A lot of pitches up, then some too low.
Wilson spoils that one.
He dropped down, way down to the side on that fastball. Watch this motion here. This is what you call a sidearm fastball. Gets it toward the outside corner. This is not your Laredo, not way down, but he drops down to the side and throws a fastball.
2-2.
One other thing I'm noticing is his breaking ball is not as fast as it was in Game 2 when he pitched. If it's not quick, the hitters can lay off of it. If it's slower, they have time to read it and see that it's a breaking ball and not chase it.
Dan Wilson has been asked about his hitting woes, and he says the right things. He says, catcher is such an important defensive position. I just have to compartmentalize things and put the hitting behind me and do what I can for my team behind the plate. Did he go around? He did. He strikes out. The second strikeout of the night for El Duque. A scoreless top of the second. Still 2-0 M's. RBI doubles from Alex Rodriguez and Edgar Martinez in the top of the first have given Seattle a 2-0 lead, which they take to the bottom half of the second. Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Jorge Posada, the hitters for New York.
And Bernie Williams has really been the only Yankee hitter to get good swings at every pitcher that he's faced. He swung the bat very well the entire series.
And the numbers back you up, Joe. John Halama, Brooklyn product. Family still lives in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Back to work in the second. Said he never visited Yankee Stadium, not even once. Never attended a single game in this ballpark as a kid. Said he went to Shea a few times. He wasn't an avid baseball fan, but he said he would call himself a Met fan. He especially liked the '86 World Champions. He hopes his next start is against the Mets. 1-1 to Bernie Williams. How would the Mets feel if, after all the anticipation of a Subway Series and being fairly sure that they'd never have to board a plane until everything was over with, Seattle comes in here and wins 2 more, upsets the Subway Series apple cart, and forces the Mets to fly to Seattle at least once and probably twice.
Well, Bernie Williams has had a tough time against Alama. He is 0 for 12 in his career.
Not anymore. First hit for the Yanks.
And Bernie has been sitting on the balls really well. By that, I mean not a lot of movement from the left side or the right side. He just gets right there. He stays there, keeps his head on the ball, and just hits it right back through the middle for a base hit. But he has been swinging the bat well the entire series. He had one game where he didn't get any hits, but he was still swinging the bat well.
Tino Martinez had a playoff hitting streak of 8 straight games prior to the last 2. He went hitless in games 4 and 5, a combined 0 for 7. The man Tino replaced a few years ago as the Yankees' first baseman, Don Mattingly, threw out the first ball tonight and received a huge ovation. Williams chased back.
And I think a good job by Williams because that's what he wanted to see. He wanted to at least see a throw to first base. He was faking. He had basically a one-way lead. A one-way lead means you're going back to first base. You're not trying to steal the base. You're just getting out there trying to draw a throw.
Foul back, 0-2 to Tino Martinez. This was the scene just prior to the game. Don Mattingly to the mound, getting loose. And the man they used to call Donnie Baseball in these parts delivers the ceremonial first pitch. His prime was not as long as that of many other great players, but for a 4 or 5 year stretch, he was so good with the glove and a consistent 300-plus hitter, 45 or so doubles a year, one of the game's best. The 0-2 pitch, long drive, but foul.
Alama throws a fastball up and in. Really, there's not much that Tino can do with that except pull it foul. The only way you can keep that ball fair is if you pull through with your front arm, and most hitters, including Tino there, rolls his top hand and it's going to hook foul.
Another 0-2 pitch. Lined hard, short hop by McLemore, should turn it into a double play, and there it is.
Well, the Mariners get a break there because Tino was right on that breaking ball, but he lines it in front, right in front of Mark McLemore. Anyway, if he pulls it, it's a base hit, but he hit it right at him. McLemore fielded it and threw it to second base, and they could come up with the double play. Good job here by McLemore. You see he stays down on it, and he uses his body to catch it. You always try to smother the line drive, whether it's going to be short hopped in front of you or it bounces way out in front of you. Just try to smother it. And he did a good job there.
Here's Posada, the switch hitting catcher. Ball 1 to him. Only 6 of Posada's 28 regular season home runs came from the right side. His power slipped noticeably in the season's last couple of months. He's still done the job behind the plate. But could he be wearing down in terms of his offense?
I don't think there's any doubt that he's wearing down a little bit, Bob, because remember that this is his first year of being the everyday catcher. He's shared those duties with Joe Girardi before, so he was getting a lot of rest. So he's going to stay strong all year long. But when you have to catch every day, as he and Mike Piazza catches up with you.
Lines one to right. Ibanez over to take it. No runs, a hit by Bernie Williams, but he's erased on a double play. And thus nobody is left. After 2, still 2-0.
I talked about the fact that his curveball was a little slower and that the hitters were taking time to read it. So what does he do? He goes to the slider, which is harder, and gives the hitters less time to decide. See, the tight spin on the slider means it's traveling faster, it gets there quicker, and they have less time to read it, so they have to react quickly. And that's when you'll get hitters to chase pitches out of the zone. The slow curveball will not be effective against the left-handed hitters in this instance.
Top of the order in the top of the 3rd. Javier to start it. He bounced to Brocious at third base in the 1st. All the talk about a Subway Series. Lou Piniella was joking before the game, how about an all-wild card World Series? The Mets were the National League wild card. The Mariners are trying to be the first American League team to make it to the World Series as the wild card. The Marlins won it in 1997, coming out of the wild card slot. Seattle's the first team ever from the American League West to be the wild card. Prior to this year, all the wild card qualifiers in the American League came from the East. It was always the Yankees, the Red Sox, or the Orioles.
CL Duque uses his pitches to set hitters up. He doesn't really have a pitch that he can just dominate you with, like Roger Clemens' split finger or his overpowering fastball. So what he does, he'll throw a couple of breaking balls away, and then he tried to jam stand. He missed on the inside corner. Now he'll go away again. So that's what he has to do. He will set the hitter up by changing speeds, using both sides of the plate, and that's when he's effective. Here's a fastball. This is running away. He threw a fastball in, gets Stan looking in, so now he tries to throw a fastball tailing away.
That is 2-2 to Javier. Rolls
Changeup.
foul.
There's a couple of ways that you can keep a hitter off balance. That's what pitching is. Pitching is keeping the hitter off balance. You can do it by overpowering him, as Roger Clemens did on Saturday. He threw an overpowering fastball and had a great split-fingered fastball. Or you change speeds and use both sides of the plate. Roger Clemens did not have to use either side of the plate. He just threw it for a strike, all of his pitches, because they were overpowering. El Duque has to use both sides of the plate with his fastball, with his curveball, and his changeup.
Bouncing ball backhanded by Martinez. El Duque covers, and they get him.
Nice play there by Tino. And you see a lot of infielders doing this now. They use their foot to stop themselves. They'll drop down to one knee to stop their momentum. See, his momentum is going toward right field, so he slides, comes up. Now it makes it easy to turn around and feed El Duque as he covers first base. Right here, if he takes the ball and continues to run towards second base, it's going to make it a difficult play. So you go to a sliding stop, get up, and now it's an easy play.
One out in the third. And here's Martin, who walked and scored in the first. Former Pirate and Padre hits out of that open stance. A power threat, especially at Yankee Stadium. Cuts and misses on the fastball. You were talking about the differences in approach between Hernandez and Clemens, but one thing they definitely have in common: presence.
Correct.
They have tremendous presence on the mound.
You know they're out there. You're right. I mean, they get your attention every time they step to the mound.
Popped up back of the plate. It'll stay in for Posada. And that's the second out. And folks, you can go in depth on tonight's ALCS game by logging on to MSNBCSports.com. Comprehensive coverage includes streaming video of post-game press conferences and audio interviews with key players from each team. And be sure to check out extensive coverage of the upcoming World Series, including special interactives and multimedia, all at MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports. So here's Rodriguez, who smacked a double down the left field line to get the Mariners going in the first.
And both Rodriguez and Edgar Martinez took advantage of El Duque in the first inning when he was up with his pitches. He hit a high fastball, and Edgar hit a high breaking ball to plate the 2 runs.
Martin, who had walked, was running on the pitch to Rodriguez, so his double down the left field line scored Martin easily from first. El Duque gets ahead of him 0-2.
From a hitter's perspective, it's natural that you go up there after you've hit a double off of a fastball looking for a breaking ball. So what does El Duque do? He starts him off with 2 fastballs to get ahead in the count. Now he can try to get him to chase the breaking ball if he wants, or he may come up and in with another fastball. He has a couple of ways to go here.
Hernandez has walked 2. He struck out 2. And he trails by 2. Down and away.
When you get ahead 0-2 of a good hitter like Alcs or Edgar, 0-2, you'll probably see El Duque take 2 pitches or maybe 3 before he tries to put him away. He will throw the slider he did there to try to get him to chase one, and then he'll decide whether he wants to use the other part of the plate, try to get him to chase another fastball off the plate. But he will try to get him to chase something before he goes with his pitch that he wants to get him out with.
Got him out with that one, his 3rd strikeout.
When he throws the fastball up and away, that's exactly what he wanted to do, get him to chase something out of the zone. The Mariners lead 2-0.
World Series starts on Saturday. The question is, does it start at Safeco Field in Seattle or right here at Yankee Stadium? Do the Mets take the subway or a long cross-country flight? By clinching on Monday. The Mets have their pitching all lined up. And I guess they would throw two left-handers, especially at Yankee Stadium, if the Yankees win the American League pennant. You like the edge of having a lefty here. If they stayed in rotation, it would be Leiter game 1 and Hampton game 2, although Hampton is rested enough to start the first game, and they could hold Leiter back for Sunday. Big ifs, though. The Yankees have to get there first.
Right.
Paul O'Neill had only 10 extra base hits in his last 200 at-bats of the season for Joe Torre.
I think that's why they have pinch hit for him, Bob, in situations where you need to drive the ball and hit the ball out of the ballpark.
He bounces this one back to Halama. And yet the fact the man they pinch hit for him with, Glenn Allen Hill, didn't come through on either occasion, and now is 1 for 14 in the playoffs, has revived talk that if they make the World Series, Jose Canseco might be reactivated.
Well, this is what O'Neill has been doing the entire series. Watch, he gets off balance, and all he can do is extend out and hit with his upper body. But a lot of this, I think, has to do with the fact he had the bad hip, and he got a lot of bad habits from playing while he was injured. But he doesn't drive the ball nearly as well as he did before, and I guarantee he's injured still.
I don't recall him even reaching the warning track at any time in this series, and he's under 200 for the series. And he's been such a warrior through the years and such a contributor to Yankee success.
And he's been such a good hitter. I think that's the key. He is a good hitter. He knows how to hit, but he's not able to drive the ball right now, and I think there are a lot of physical, reasons for that. When you play injured, you develop a lot of bad habits.
2-1 to Soho. You may have heard us mention this on Sunday, but Joe Torre told us, and subsequently was in all the papers, that if the Yankees make the World Series, he'll take his chances, and in the National League Park without the DH, Shea Stadium in this case, he will play Chuck Knobloch at second base. He'll DH him here at Yankee Stadium and continue to use Soho in the field if the Yankees win one more against the Mariners and face the Mets in the World Series. Fouled away, and the count is full. And Soho works a one-out walk. The first walk given up by Halama.
He starts him off with a strike, perfect pitch low and away. Tries to hit that spot again, and he continues to miss outside. And then Soho fouls this fastball off. It was away also, and then he misses down.
Halama is 28 years old. He's 6'5" and 200. Went to Bishop Ford High School in Brooklyn. Started out with the Astros, a 23rd round draft choice back in '94. A strike to Brocious. Then he was part of the deal which sent Randy Johnson from Seattle to Houston. And the Mariners, who didn't appear to have much leverage with Johnson forcing the trade, got a lot in return, as it turned out. Two of their starting pitchers, Halama and Freddie Garcia, and Carlos Guillen, who's their starting third baseman tonight. The 0-1 to Brocious. Got the corner.
And Halama's been able to keep the ball down, even though he's walked a hitter, but he's been able to keep the ball down right around the knees. Good pitch here. And he's trying to get a ground ball anyway, so you throw the sinker down, and Brocious takes strike two.
Soho a short lead at first. He's not a threat to run. Called strike three. Brocious walks away muttering to himself. And maybe that last one, for all you lip readers, was something more than a mutter.
Well, he was looking for a fastball away. You see, Dan Wilson does frame it a little bit. We'll take a look from this side.
He may have a gripe.
Yeah, he did frame it.
You may be right in this case, Scott. It's the first strikeout, though, for Halama. Ball 1 to Knobloch. Soho now at first with 2 down. In the first, Knobloch sent a fly ball down the right field line, which pinned Ibanez against the 314 sign for the catch. Remember, in Game 4 of the World Series last October, Joe, you and I were here, and Knobloch hit a home run on a ball quite a bit like that.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the turning points of that series, because I always felt like if the Braves could win one game, they could get back into the series. But the Yankees did not allow it. It swept them.
It's so cozy down that right field line that even a right-handed hitter, if you get it up in the air, and as long as the wind isn't blowing in, it's got a pretty good chance to go out. Knobloch's ahead on the count 2-0 and takes a strike. You can't blame Torrey for wanting to keep his bat in there, even if it means playing him in the field at Shea Stadium if the Yankees make the World Series. Torrey knows that Knobloch, in 3 World Series, the last 2 years as a Yank and 91 as a rookie with the Twins, has hit well over 300.
Well, you see Halama starting to really struggle with his control. And you couldn't expect him to pitch as good a game as he did in Game 2, but he has a lead, and he doesn't have to be quite as careful as he did the entire ball game in Game 2. But everything now is down or just off the plate outside. If you're the catcher, you're just going to have to make him raise his target a little bit.
Olerud letting Halama know that he's going to play off the bat. And the 3-1 pitch is popped up. Olerud wants it. And the Yankees are gone in the 3rd. The 2 runs they got in their first turn at bat are holding up so far. 2-0 Seattle. Back after these messages and a word from your local station. Orlando Hernandez starts the 4th against one of the guys who hurt him in the first. Edgar Martinez had an RBI double that made it 2-0. He'll be followed by Olerud and Ibanez. That one bends in there for strike 1.
And he started both A-Rod and Edgar off with pitches that they got base hits on in the first inning. He just made better pitches with them. That was a curveball there that he hit in the first inning, but that one was down.
0-2. El Duque was asked recently about pressure, considering the fact that he seems so cool and composed in tough games. He says, no, I feel pressure every game. What I never feel is fear. Struck him out on 3 pitches. Number 4 for El Duque.
And this is what you expect from El Duque, is to get ahead in the count. Here's the slider instead of the curveball. So he doesn't have as much time to wait to see if it's going to stay in the strike zone. He threw him a curveball to start the at-bat off, but this slider forces him to react quickly, and it's off the plate outside.
Olerud fly to deep center his first time up. Strike 1 to him. Am I the only guy with the feeling that El Duque is settling into a groove?
No, you can see that he's now getting the ball down. He was up in the first inning, but it cost him 2 runs. Now, all of a sudden, he's getting pitches where he wants. He's been able to find his rhythm.
And he's fanned 4 of the last 8 hitters he's faced. He's one of those guys. Subway strikeouts being posted in anticipation of a Subway series. He is one of those guys, if you can be impartial about it, you're not rooting for either team, you're just a baseball fan, you have to love watching him work. He is a high-kicking, swashbuckling son of a gun. And his 2-1 pitch is fouled away.
That's what we are.
Well, it goes without saying. Oh, baseball
impartial?
fans.
Yeah, you
right.
said impartial. Whatever.
No, I was kind of fancying myself as a swashbuckling son of a gun, but I guess I got carried away. And I soon may be led away.
And the fans are starting to get into his strikeouts. Every time he gets 2 strikes on a hitter now, we get a little response. They have been quieted down.
A line drive toward right center field. O'Neill is in pursuit. He won't get there. It'll go to the wall. Olerud on his way to second, and he'll stop there with a 1-out double.
This looks like the same pitch he had in the first inning, but he popped it up. Exact same pitch. Fastball is moving away from him a little bit. And Olerud lines it into right center field. Paul O'Neill not able to run it down, and Olerud has a 1-out double.
3rd Seattle hit, all of them doubles. Ibanez struck out to end the 1st, stranding a man at 3rd. Strike 1.
And Ibanez is going to have to prove to El Duque that he can handle his fastball. He threw the fastball by him by moving in and out in the 1st inning. And he starts him with 1 here in the 2nd. And in the 4th.
0-2.
Good backdoor breaking ball. It's a backdoor breaking ball. It starts off the plate outside and just comes back and gets the outside corner. There's a good rotation, and it finds the outside corner.
Ibanez spoils it. Joe Torre says that Orlando Hernandez reminds him in some respects of Juan Marichal because of the wide repertoire of pitches and the variety of arm angles. You faced Marichal and others. Who, if anyone, does El Duque remind you of?
Well, I don't think anyone would ever remind me of Marichal because he had a different style, different kick. He reminds me more of Louis Tiant than anyone else.
And nobody kicked as high as Marichal. The 0-2. He wastes that one, a ball and 2 strikes.
Juan Marichal had all the pitches, fastball, curveball, slider, screwball, changeup, and he threw them all from different angles as El Duque does. But I think he reminds me more of Louis Tiant.
Still 1-2 to Ibanez.
He continues to try to get Ibanez out with a fastball. That was supposed to be up and in. He's fouled off the last 2 fastballs, but he wants the pitch up and in to strike him out, but he wasn't able to get it there.
When you can throw so many different pitches, and Hernandez doesn't have quite as many as Marichal did, but he has plenty. And when, like Marichal, you can throw them from a variety of arm angles with control, that really gives you a dozen different pitches or more.
Correct. And it keeps the guy from guessing because he can throw you a fastball, but if he drops down and throws a fastball, it'll tail away from the left-handed hitter. If he throws a fastball over the top, it'll be like a cutter and come in. So it's the same pitch, a fastball, but it moves in different directions.
Olerud, who doubled, is at second with 1 out. Seattle leads it 2-0 as they bat in the 4th. And another 1-2 pitch to Ibanez. This is outside.
In fact, they called Louis Tiant El Tiante in Boston. And this is El Duque, fellow Cuban.
He pitched on his birthday 6 days ago. The dispute was, should there be 31 candles on the cake or 35? In the air to left, Justice over and toward the line to take it for the second out. Olerud back to second base.
Let's take a look at the different delivery angles from El Duque to Ibanez. That's the high fastball. There's the curveball, the second pitch. Then he comes back with a fastball. And most of the pitches you'll see are fastballs. They're just thrown from different angles. One other curveball and all fastballs away. He wanted to get him out with a fastball, and that's what he ended up doing, getting him with a fastball away.
The birth certificate may have been lost on the raft, but nonetheless, when he arrived in the big leagues, he was no rookie. He was a seasoned performer who had pitched in big pressure games for the Cuban national team. Here's a long drive to right that's going to double the lead. Long gone off the bat of Carlos Guillen. And the lineup change by Lou Piniella pays big dividends. To get another left-handed bat in, he removed David Bell, inserted Guillen, and Guillen just crushes one off El Duque.
This ballpark favors left-handed hitters anyway, so putting a left-hander in actually adds to your advantage. Here, and this is a fastball in. Watch, it's supposed to be way in. It doesn't get it in. Look, it moves back out over the plate, and Guillen drills it. This is an upper deck home run. I mean, this is way up. Ends up in the upper deck. And there's El Duque. Knows that he made a big mistake there. The ball was supposed to be a fastball in. It moved back out over the plate.
A strike to McLemore. During the season, Guillen had 7 home runs. This one makes it 4-0 Seattle. Bouncing ball to second. Here's Soho. That takes care of Seattle in the 4th. I guess those who thought that a Subway Series was a foregone conclusion thought Seattle would provide only token opposition. It's been anything but.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Sun America, the retirement specialist, and by NBCI.com, one site with everything you need.
In the distance, Shea Stadium. They'll play games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series there. The question is, who will provide the opposition? The Yankees still have the inside track, but it's less of a certainty than it was certainly 48 hours ago, or even at the start of this game 6. 4-0 Seattle as we go to the bottom of the 4th. All 4 Seattle hits have been for extra bases. 3 doubles and the upper deck home run by Guillen.
Well, if you're the Yankees, you're watching Hallam and you realize he's not as sharp today as he was in Game 2, so you still feel like you can score some runs.
A strike call to Jeter. Justice will follow, and then Bernie Williams in the 4th. John Halama is a big guy, but not a power pitcher. He's a finesse guy. Slice to right and pretty deep. Back goes Ibanez to take it at the wall.
Jeter doesn't ever get his arms extended like a lot of power hitters. He hits the ball from inside out. and he drives this one pretty well, but he didn't get enough of it to get it over the wall. More of a line drive.
The Yankees have made 10 outs in this game. Half of the putouts belong to Ibanez in right field. Including Justice, who flied to him in shallow right to end the first. Ball one high. That one's in there.
Halama has not had as good a control of his fastball tonight as he had in the first game. And definitely has not had good control of his curveball. That was his curveball there. He has a better curveball overhand, but it seems like he's trying to shorten it a little bit so that he can throw strikes with it. But you saw his combined line, and maybe we can get it back up there after the next pitch. Between games 2 and 6 to this point, he's pitched the equivalent of a shutout. Correct. But in game 2, he was really sharp. But it's hard to be that sharp, you know, against the Yankees the second time around, because they also know what to expect, and they're trying to make adjustments to what you're doing.
But they've had only one hit, a sharp single up the middle by Bernie Williams to start the second. And Halama has walked only one. Soho in the third. And he leads it 4-0. A drive to right. Ibanez in pursuit. He may have short-hopped it. He did not catch it cleanly. It's a base hit for Justice.
Good job by Jerry Davis down the right field line. He got out there very quickly to make sure this ball wasn't caught. This is a hanging curveball. So this is not the curveball that he had the first time around. He did not have a good curveball tonight, so he hangs it, and there you see a nice play by Ibanez, but he's not able to come up with it, but he is able to hold Justice to a single. The ball clearly hits the ground.
Ibanez must be wearing magnets. Everything goes his way. First one to Bernie Williams. Inside. Career high 30 home runs and 121 RBIs during the regular season. Justice at first with one out on the fourth. Tino Martinez on deck.
In game 2, he threw Bernie a lot of curveballs, but doesn't have as good a control of his curveball, so he's going to have to try to get him out with a fastball and a change.
Pop back to the seats.
There's the changeup, and he had Bernie out in front. There you see what Bernie has done. He has a hitting streak going. He's had a base hit in each of the 5 games so far, and also here in the 6th game.
And he has taken his usual between pitches stroll. Now settles back in after taking the night air. And the 1-1 pitch. Got the corner, 1-2. Halama actually went into a park with his brother Steve on Sunday with his team playing in Seattle to get some throwing in because he had stayed here over the weekend to attend his sister Barbara's wedding. That one's at the corner and right at the knees. So his brother Steve worked him out while his team was a continent away. Williams had stepped out, and time obviously had been called. Olerud playing off the bag with Justice at first and one down. Rolled foul.
There's his curveball, still not quite as sharp as he would like, but he feels like he has to throw it until he can find it. Because that's a very important pitch for him against the left-handed hitters as well as the right-handed hitters, because it's a completely different speed.
Up and in, 2-2. Ripped over Guillen's head into left for a base hit. Justice will stop at second. Back-to-back singles with one out. And an RBI chance for Tino Martinez.
Good hitting here by Bernie Williams. The change up away, and he reaches out and pulls it to left field for a base hit. The pitch before, they tried to come inside with a fastball. He couldn't get it there, so he comes back with a changeup, and Bernie waits on it and lines it to left field for a base hit. And there's Jeter all excited. He says, yeah, we've got something going now.
Williams had never had a hit prior to tonight off Palama, 0 for 9. He singled sharply against him each of his first two turns. First Yankee as far as second base tonight against Palama. Beach ball was thrown out onto the field, and that's the delay as the ball boy goes out and gets it. Alama facing Martinez, who hit the ball sharply in the second, but right at McLemore, who turned it into a 4-6-3 double play. Ball one high. Martinez's power numbers were down during the season. He had only 16 home runs. He has one in the playoffs.
If you're the Yankees, it's important that you put a run on the board if just one. The fact there is that you will let Alama know that you can score off of him. 2 on, 1 out, and the 1-1 pitch coming. Down and away. You look at a guy like Halama, despite his size, he doesn't throw that hard, and that's why he was taken in the 23rd round. The scouts tend to look at physical tools. This guy will nibble here and finesse you there. Last pitch, 68. Pitch before that, 77. But he's beaten the Yankees twice this year and had a strong no decision against them in Game 2. Here's his 2-1 pitch. In the air, down the left field line, and apparently out of play, which it is. And Bob, when you do not throw hard and you rely on finesse, you have to be able to throw strikes. You can't pitch from behind consistently. He doesn't have the same location tonight that he had in Game 2. But you didn't expect him to. I didn't expect him to come out and try to pitch another shutout for 6 innings. You know the Yankees are going to make adjustments, and they're going to force him to change his pattern. He had a pattern against just about every hitter in the second game. They're forcing him to change those patterns by sitting on those pitches.
And the 2-2. Bounce foul. Lee Mazzilli, the Yankee coach at first. Willie Randolph on the lines at third.
Every hitter in the Yankee lineup knows exactly how Halama got them out in Game 2. So when they came into the ballgame today, they're trying to make adjustments to those pitches. The difference is that Halama doesn't have the same location that he had in Game 2, and it's not working to their advantage. If he was able to throw the same pitches, they would know exactly what's coming.
In the course of stranding 15 runners in Game 5 at Seattle, the Yankees were just 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position. This is their first such opportunity tonight, trailing 4-0 in the fourth.
Good pitch there from Halama. Completely fooled Martinez, but at least he got a piece of it. This is not the big curveball. It's more of a half curve slider or slurve, if you want to call it that. And Martinez tries to check his swing, but he gets a piece of it. In Game 2, he had a bigger overhand curveball than he has tonight.
Another 2-2 pitch. Full count. I wouldn't expect that they'd be running. Trailing 4-0, left-handed hitter at the plate. Could be an ideal strikeout throwout situation.
Well, the other danger is if you hit the line drive at someone, it's a double play, and you have runners in scoring position, and you want to take your shot to trying to put some runs on the board this way. Just take your shot.
They are not going, and the 3-2 pitch is outside, and the bases are loaded. Here comes the pitching coach, Brian Price.
Well, he had a 2-2 count, and he threw him a changeup after missing with a curveball. Now he comes with another changeup, and he misses outside.
Brett Tomko, who had an effective stint at Safeco earlier in the series, gets up. He's the former Cincinnati Red who came to Seattle, along with Mike Cameron and a couple of prospects in the Ken Griffey Jr. deal. Time to take a look at things from the Budweiser blimp and its eye-in-the-sky camera. Proud to provide you with these live shots 1,000 feet above Yankee Stadium. To all baseball fans, this Bud's for you.
Piniella has a 4-0 lead, but you cannot stay with Halama too long and give most of that lead back.
Justice at third, Williams at second. They both singled. Martinez, who walked, is at first. Posada is the tying run at the plate with one out in the bottom of the fourth. He lined to right his first time up. Swings at the first one and fouls it back. The struggling Paul O'Neill is on deck. So Posada is a very, very big hitter for Halama.
Well, he helped Halama out. That pitch was up and away, and he chased it.
Of course, Posada hasn't hit much in the postseason either. But he's a switch hitter batting right-handed. O'Neill hits lefty. Inside and low.
The pitch that has been effective for him against the right-handed hitters has been the fastball inside. And that's because he threw most of the right-handers away last time and used his changeup and curveball away. So they're a little surprised when he comes inside with the fastball.
Swinging a drive toward the gap in right center field. Could be
hard to tell a pitcher not to make too good a pitch. He throws this pitch off the plate outside. Not a bad pitch. But Posada ripped it up the alley in right center field. And the Mariners are lucky that only 2 runs scored on this play. They made a good relay to the plate. And they hold Bernie Williams. As Bernie comes around third, he waves Martinez home, but he can't get there.
Williams might have thought that Tino was going to follow him. But with 1 out, Willie Randolph stopped him. O'Neill taps to the mound his first time up. He lines this one through for a base hit. Posada had to wait. Randolph's waving him home anyway, and now he stops him. He was waving him home, and as he came around third, he stopped him. So 1 run scores, and it's 4-3. Posada held his ground at second base just to see if McLemore could make the play on the ball hit up the middle by O'Neill. From third, Posada is stopped at third.
And O'Neill gets the fastball, and he actually pushes it off, gets the fastball in, and he pushes up the middle for a base hit. And as you mentioned, Posada had to hold up for a split second, and therefore he wasn't able to score. And you see Randolph yelling for him to go. And then he holds him up.
Posada and O'Neill, 2 slumping Yanks, come through, and Halama is through. So you're John Halama. You pitched shutout ball in a 6-inning stint in Game 2 against the Yanks. You're up 4-0 into the 4th, 1 out, nobody on. And then the roof falls in. Justice singles to right. Williams with a hit. Tino Martinez a walk. Posada a double to right center that scores 2. O'Neill a single up the middle that plates 1. Brings Brett Tomko out of the bullpen. And the Yankees still threatening first and third, 1 out. Here's Soho. Infield looks for the double play as he takes a strike.
I feel that Lou Piniella wanted to go get Halama sooner, but he liked the matchups in that he had Posada hitting from the right side to try to get the ground ball. And then he had O'Neill, so he had to let him pitch against those 2 hitters.
And this one is popped up. McLemore into shallow right. There's the second out. So Randolph stopped Posada at third, thinking that with 1 out, they could get a run home without benefit of a hit.
As it turned out, he could have scored because the relay throw was offline, but you do not know that because they were going to have plenty of time to probably get Posada if the throw was on target.
Now, barring a wild pitch or an error, Brocious will have to come through against Tomko, who was very impressive in Game 3 for 2 innings. Piniella said afterwards that maybe he left him in too long. He let him work a 3rd inning, and then he got lit up. He faces Brocious. He struck out in the 3rd against Halama. A slow roller, tough play. Guillen charging, throws on the run, and the Mariners cling to a 1-run lead.
Great job.
Tomko comes in and retires the 2 hitters he faces and maintains a 1-run lead. Bob Costas back with Joe Morgan. Joe, even before Halama got in trouble when he had a 1-hitter going, you called it. He did not have his good stuff tonight.
And the reason I knew that he was going to have problems, Bob, is because he doesn't have a good enough fastball that he can just throw the fastballs. And he had a changeup, but he doesn't have his did not have his curveball today. You can't beat these Yankees and shut them down without having 3 good pitches if you do not have a good fastball. His fastball is just not good enough that he could throw it to these Yankee hitters. And he was missing with his curveball, so all they had to do was deal with 2 pitches, fastball, changeup, and they were able to handle it.
So he's gone, can't be the winner. The man who's trailing, El Duque, is still on the mound into the 5th. A ball and a strike to Dan Wilson, who'll be followed by Stan Javier and Al Martin. And the left-handed hitters hurt Halama in that 4th inning. The switch hitters, Williams and Posada, each had a hit. But so did the lefties, Justice and O'Neill, and Tino Martinez worked the walk.
And without the good curveball, Bobby really doesn't have a pitch to get the left-handed hitters out with because he's not going to throw him a changeup. So he's going to end up throwing fastballs. He hung the curveball to Justice, but without the curveball, he was going to have problems the entire evening. You have to have a curveball if you do not throw hard. And he tried to even get a fastball by O'Neill, and he couldn't get it by him.
Wilson struck out on the second. The 2-2 pitch. Just inside.
When you drop down a little bit, the ball tails in more. See how the ball is tailing into Dan Wilson? It's off the plate inside.
A little bloop, and his long drought is over. All rise for Dan Wilson, who ends an 0 for 41 playoff streak.
And we were all pulling for it.
And sometimes that's the way you have to do it.
You're right. I mean, he hits this ball off the end of the bat, and it's a little flare over first base. And he gets a base hit. And when I say we're pulling from, you never like to see a player go 0 for 41. I don't care who the player is.
It wouldn't have cracked an eggshell had it landed on one, but it'll look a whole lot better in the box score than that long fly to the warning track at Safeco that just continued the streak.
Well, he has to be careful over there, Bobby. He hasn't been at first base in so long. He has to make sure he doesn't get picked off.
He has to make sure he remembers that he's supposed to run counterclockwise. This is key.
And this is interesting. They have Javier squared around to bunt, and we'll see if that continues. But Javier has been one of the players who have had pretty good success off of El Duque in the past.
Trocious in on the grass. Javier pulls back and takes a ball.
And I agree with Lou trying to make sure that he adds runs, because a one-run lead against the Yankees definitely is not safe. So what you try to do is just get one here, one there, and try to add to your lead until the big guys get up, and hopefully they'll be able to do some damage.
Squaring and taking ball 2. There's a long way to go, but it's possible that a key play in this game will be Posada holding at third on the base hit by O'Neill. You could see from the replay that Jorge actually misjudged it. McLemore had no chance to get the ball, so he could have broken sooner. As it was, Randolph was at first waving him home, but then when he realized that he'd gotten a late break and there could have been a play at the plate, he stopped him at third. Tomko came out of the bullpen, got a pop-up with the runners holding, and then a ground out to end the inning. The Yankees stranded runners at first and third, and the run represented by Posada could have tied the game.
There's no doubt that that's a big play, Bob. All big plays do not happen in the 7th inning or later. A lot of big plays happen early in the ballgame, because what that did is it lets the Mariners know that they still have the lead. There's a big difference in being tied on the road and having the lead. And Billy Connor's out to check on El Duque.
Mike Stanton warming up.
This also was interesting, Bob. When they called timeout, Stan Javier went down to talk to Larry Bohr. A lot of times, a manager will not force a guy to bunt 2-0. You know, guys throwing balls, you do not want to bunt and get him out with just one strike. So sometimes you'll take a strike and then go back to bunting. It'll be a dangerous move to try to hit and run with Dan Wilson at first base.
He's got a short lead over there and is back easily.
Javier didn't give the bunt away on that particular pitch. And Lou may be saying, hey, it's 2 balls, no strikes. Look for a fastball and try to drill it. Look for a fastball, try to do some damage. And that's what he does. He lets him try to sit on the fastball, try to pull the ball, maybe even hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think that's a smart move by a manager. 2-0, don't let him throw one strike and you go ahead and bunt the ball.
So a little flare from Wilson. Now the count 3-0 to Javier. He's taking all the way, and there's a strike.
Now he has a decision to make. Do you go back and bunt him over to second base, or do you put a hit and run on? Both the first base coach, he's standing there talking to Dan Wilson, and Larry Bohr is giving a sign to third. If I was going to guess, I would think that he would let him hit.
There he goes. He's swinging. Line drive, double play. Jeter can walk it over there himself if he wants.
And that's the danger. Everyone, when you talk about hitting and running, you talk about putting runners in motion. The danger is that the hitter hits the line drive and it's a double play. A lot of things can happen that are negative. Tough pitch, and he swings at it probably because Dan Wilson is running. This pitch is probably ball 4, but he can't take it because Dan Wilson's running. If it's called a strike, he knows Dan's going to be out. And that was another interesting play because with a count 3-1, Derek Jeter did not cover.
Yep.
And that's something that, if you're Stan Javier, you have to think about it yourself. Who's going to cover?
Left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
And the second baseman Soho was covering. Had it been Jeter and had the ball been in the same place, it's right through the spot he vacates.
And that's a choice you make as a hitter. You say, I'm going to go to my strength and try to pull the ball, or am I going to slap at it and go the other way? And he chose in that situation to go the other way. With 2 balls and 2 strikes, you normally will go the other way. But when you're ahead in the count, you have a choice.
Well, the pitch was down and away, and he may have felt that with Wilson, the catcher, running, if he takes the pitch and it's called a strike, there's a ball hit in the air to center. Williams coming in, and this is going to finish the inning. He may have thought if I take the strike, Wilson's going to be thrown out stealing. So he put the bat on the ball as best he could and lined into a double play. Seattle is history in the 5th. Four runs, 5 hits, no errors for Seattle. 3-5-0 for New York. Bottom of the 5th, game 6. If there is a 7th game tomorrow night, Aaron Seeley will pitch it for Seattle with Freddie Garcia available in the bullpen. Andy Pettitte would be the game 7 starter for New York. Up and in a knob-block from Tomko.
And Tomko has a good fastball. He has a good breaking ball. And what he did in Seattle until he tired the other day was he just held the Yankees in complete check. He has a good fastball. He held them completely in check with fastballs away, fastballs in.
One of the many attributes of Joe Torre as a manager is his patience. Of course, he has a talented enough roster that he can be more patient than most managers, but still, guys like Knobloch, maybe others would have given up on him.
True.
He also apparently has no doghouse because Knobloch and Nelson and others have blown off some steam in the press, and Joe doesn't hold it against them. They were pretty close to trading Andy Pettitte to Philadelphia last year till Torre interceded. And I can't remember a defending champion that's had as much roster turnover the next year as this New York Yankee team has. But the rock in the center of it all is Joe Torre.
Correct.
2-1 pitch, popped up left side. Guillen at third base. It was a foul ball as he made the catch. Tomorrow on NBC, if there is no Game 7.
Wednesday, Law & Order returns with a new season and a new DA.
And then they hang their heads on our wall.
Law & Order premieres NBC Wednesday.
That's if there's no Game 7. Just for the record, the 97 Marlins from 97 to 98 had more turnover than any team, but they weren't really defending their championship.
They weren't trying.
Yeah, I mean, they'd broken up the team before they could clean up the confetti from the parade.
Bob, I think the point you made there about Joe Torre is very valid, and the fact that Joe was a player. So I think that has a lot to do with the way that he deals with the players. Not only was he a player, he was a star. So he understands what stars go through, and he also understands what the other players go through. And he knows sometimes they say things that they do not really mean. They say it in the heat of battle. And Joe just doesn't have a doghouse. I think that's the
way to put it.
Jeter has twice flied to right. A ball and a strike. Thinking back to that Florida Marlins situation, you and I were in the ballpark when they win Game 7, a great Game 7 in the 11th on the Renteria hit. Such tension and drama. It almost hit Jeter. The count is 2-1, and then by the following April, fewer than half of those players were even there on opening day to receive their championship rings. I mean, that was a joke. But of the teams who actually proposed to defend their championship, the Yankees probably have had more roster turnover than any team in memory. The 2-1 pitch. Cuts and misses.
And that's how Tom Coe pitched in Seattle. In with a fastball off the plate, moves Jeter away, and then he goes right on the outside corner. He just moved him off the plate inside. Now look at this pitch. Right on the outside corner with some heat on it. He's got a great fastball, and Jeter a little late on it.
Lets that one go outside, full count. Tom Coe is 27 years old. This is his 4th year in the majors. First 3 with the Reds. He's 6'4", 215. He went 7-5 in a variety of roles, mostly out of the bullpen. And Tom Coe's ERA was 4.68 during the regular season. His 3-2 pitch to Jeter is fouled off.
Lou not quite as comfortable as he was with a 4-0 lead.
And a 1-out walk for Jeter.
Well, we mentioned Tom Coe has a good enough fastball that he can throw it to the hitters for strike and not worry about him hitting him out of the ballpark. There's his slider, fastball off the plate. Now this is the best pitch he threw. Fastball right on the outside corner, nothing Jeter could do. He tried to reach out there again. Jeter fouls it. Now he misses again off the plate outside. But you see Lou getting a little nervous there in the dugout, trying to figure out exactly how he wants to match up for the remainder of this inning.
Jeter at first with 1 out. And ball 1 to Justice. Tom Coe has been throwing hard, getting into the mid-90s on the radar gun. He's out there pumping. Jeter at first is a high percentage base stealer, 22 of 26 during the season. The 1-0 to Justice. Rolled foul.
Tom Coe doesn't have a big high leg kick, so if Jeter does go, Dan Wilson will have a chance to throw him out. Now, watch, he doesn't have a high leg kick, so Dan Wilson will have an opportunity, if he does go, to make a good throw and throw him out. But he's also staying at first base because he's leaving the hole on the right side for David Justice.
Tom Coe chases him back. Justice flied to right. And then his single with 1 out in the 4th started the 3-run Yankee rally. Two balls and a strike.
He's having trouble with his breaking ball as well, but he does have a good enough fastball that he can throw it for strikes and not worry about them pulling it out of the ballpark unless he makes a mistake middle of the plate in.
Big pitch here. Inside, 3-1. Bernie Williams will be next.
Fastball off the plate inside. Justice takes it. And we're in the same situation that the Mariners were in the top of the inning. Do you want to send the runner or not? Or I should say in the top of the fourth inning. I'll get it correct. It was the top of the fifth.
We knew what you meant. He goes on the 3-1 pitch, which is taken for a strike. The throw is high, and Jeter steals it.
And Justice thought this pitch was low. Tough pitch for Wilson to throw on. He had to come up and throw a strike, but he got it up. And Jeter in easily. Jeter gets a good jump. Throw is high. And he's in safely. That was definitely a hit and run. You can see that he looked at the plate to see what Justice did with the pitch. On a straight steal, most of your base stealers do not look at the plate to see if the hitter swings or not.
About adjusting the signs with a runner at second, or solely about the 3-2 pitch coming to Justice?
I believe it's about the 3-2 pitch coming to Justice. You know, we're deep into the series. They already know how they want to change their signals. If they want to change them, you do not have to go out and tell them. All you do is white someplace, and that'll tell you which sign you're going to use.
The 3-2. Hit toward the hole. Backhanded by Rodriguez. Long throw. Great play.
The measure of a shortstop is how he handles the ball hit into the hole. A lot of people could play shortstop if they didn't have to go in the hole and make the long throw off of a left-handed hitter like David Justice. Here's Rodriguez. He goes in the hole backhanded, plants. Now he's got such a strong arm that he just releases a quick snap throw across the diamond, and he gets it. But this is the toughest play for a shortstop. Going deep in the hole and having to make the long throw and having to get rid of it quickly. And Rodriguez does a great job there.
You watch that in Seattle with somewhat mixed emotions. Great play, yeah, A-Rod. Then you begin to think, is this the last game? Or maybe tomorrow? Or a week or so from now, if we make the World Series? Do we ever see him in Seattle again? Bernie Williams takes the ball.
A-Rod made the play, then he ran in and said something to Tomko. And I believe what he was saying there is that, look, Bernie's swinging the bat better than anyone on the Yankee ball club right now. That doesn't mean pitch around him, but be careful with it.
Williams had 2 sharp singles batting right-handed off Halama. Now he faces Tomko for the first time tonight. And gets ahead on a count, 2-0.
And now Lou Pinella's going to come out and reinforce what A-Rod said. And I think this is smart. This is decision-making time. You say, well, we're going to pitch around Bernie. You're putting another runner on base. But you do not want to sit there and throw Bernie Williams too many 2-0 fastballs or a 3-0 fastball.
He's already shown what he can do with a 3-0 fastball. Ask Aaron Seeley about what happened on Friday night at Safeco. Here's a look at Williams' first 2 at-bats. Sharp singles off John Halama.
One was a fastball away, and he hit it up the middle. This is a changeup. He goes out and gets it and pulls it down the left field line for a base hit.
Williams looking for the base hit that could tie it, or the long ball that could give them the lead.
Change-up.
3-0.
They're not. I think they want to pitch around him. They didn't want him to throw him a 2-0 fastball. He wanted him to throw it for a strike, the changeup, but he did not want to throw a fastball for a strike. And now I think they're going to walk him intentionally, looks like. And a lot of people would disagree with this, but I think when you're in Lou Piniella's situation, you have to decide a lot in this game. You have to say, I'm not going to let Bernie Williams beat me because he's swinging the bat better than anyone else. And then he has to decide about his pitch and rotation if he's able to get out of this inning with the lead.
Brian Price now to the phone. At the moment, they don't have a left-hander throwing in the bullpen, and 2 of the next 3 scheduled hitters are left-handed. Starting with Martinez, who was grounded into a double play and walked.
And this is really not lack of respect for Tino. It's just that they got behind Bernie 2-0, and he would know exactly what was coming.
Tino takes high. The 2 lefties in the Mariner pen are Rob Ramsey and Arthur Rhodes. They're both sitting at the moment. That's Jose Paniagua, a hard-throwing right-hander with a good forkball who gets up. Two balls and no strikes. Piniella probably doesn't trust Ramsey, a rookie, in a situation like this with the series on the line at Yankee Stadium, and he doesn't like to use Rhodes this early in the game. Although when you get to a game 6 and you're trailing 3-2, or you get to a game 7, you use everybody somewhat differently than you usually do, but he's not going to bring him in here in the 5th.
Well, he told me that don't be surprised if he brought Arthur Rhodes here in the 5th, but you can see he's not because he doesn't have him up. And he was saying you might even use Sasaki in the 7th.
The 2-0 pitch. Fouled off. Tomko is pitching from behind on every hitter. A certain prescription for getting burned eventually.
Exactly, but the only thing that's saving him is that he has a good enough fastball. See the movement on this ball? It starts on the inside part and it moves a little bit, just enough so that Tino's able to foul it and not get good wood on it. And it gets a piece of Dan Wilson as well. This is a difference in strategy. You believe that you can throw a 2-0 fastball to Tino Martinez. He did not want to throw a 2-0 fastball to Bernie Williams.
Paniagua getting ready. But right now it's down to Tomko and Martinez. 2 on, 2 out, and the 2-1 pitch is popped back. No play.
This was a tough pitch and a smart pitch to throw. He got Tino looking for the fastball 2-0, and then he throws him a little changeup. He takes a little bit off, and watch Tino's out in front. See the grip? The Tino's out in front of this. He's lucky he didn't pop it up on the infield. That was a good pitch from Tomko. Changeup. It's in the middle of the plate, but he was fooled by the speed.
And the 2-2. Broken back ground ball toward the hole. McLemore stops it. Tomko covers. What a play as they get him at first.
Great play by Tomko as well to get over there and give him a target.
The Yankees lead 2. The bat was shattered. McLemore ranging left, and Tomko getting over there, score at 4-1. And the more important score remains 4-3.
Watch how far McLemore has to range to get this ball. And that's the easy part, just going and catching it. But then you have to find the pitcher. Watch it. See, he has to hit the pitcher on the run while he's moving, and he does it perfectly. A nice play by Tomko to get over there. Now watch from this angle. See how difficult it is? He had to lead the pitcher, and he leads him perfectly, but Tomko got there in time enough to give him a target. Excellent defensive play by the Mariners.
Part of the order in the Seattle 6th, A-Rod, Edgar Martinez, John Olerud. First one fouled off.
So far in this ball game, Hernandez has been trying to get Rodriguez out with a fastball. He got one up in the first inning. Rodriguez got a base hit. The next time up, he threw him all fastballs away and then struck him out with a high fastball away. and he starts him out with a fastball here.
Down and away, 1-1. When you're Orlando Hernandez, you don't get as quick a hook as others might. He also has a long-established history of high pitch counts. You can leave him in for long stretches. He can throw well over 100 pitches without losing effectiveness. Plus, the Yankees have a problem now with their middlemen in the bullpen. Jeff Nelson was lit up on Sunday. He really likes to save Stanton for a situation where you just have to get a couple of left-handed hitters out. The injury to Ramiro Mendoza is something they've worked around for a long time, but it came back and bit them on Sunday in Seattle, because that would have been a situation in the fifth after he yanked Nagel where you'd go to Mendoza before you'd go to Nelson. And he doesn't have Ramiro now or at any time this October, even should they make the World Series. He's through. Rodriguez whacks one toward left center field. Bernie Williams on the run toward the warning track, plays it off the wall. Rodriguez, who doubled in the first, has another two-bagger here in the sixth.
Well, El Duque continued to try to get him out with the fastball. This pitch is down. It's not a bad pitch, but A-Rod is strong. Watch where this pitch is. It's down. It gets the middle of the plate, but he goes out and gets it, and he's very strong. Hits it over the head of Bernie Williams. Bernie got a good jump on it, but the ball never came down. It just hits at the base of the wall in center field. And Alex A-Rod has a double. We're back to one of those situations where if you're Lou Piniella, do you want Edgar to take a shot towards right field, or do you want him to try to drive A-Rod in? Mike Stanton up in the bullpen.
After Martinez, you've got a string of left-handed hitters. Olerud, Ibanez, Guillen. Of course, Piniella has right-handed bats on his bench. Plenty of them. A strike to Edgar.
And watching Edgar in this series, it seems that he's guessing more than normal. I've seen him take pitches down the middle. He took a curveball from Jeff Nelson down the middle that he normally hits. And there's a first pitch fastball right where he likes the ball, and he takes it. It's as if he's guessing on certain pitches.
Comes down sidearm, and Edgar fouls it off. So El Duque gets ahead of him 0-2.
Now, this is a sidearm breaking ball. It doesn't get away as much as El Duque would like. And he fouls it back.
The 0-2 pitch. Five of the 6 Seattle hits have been for extra bases, 4 doubles, and Guillen's home run. The only exception, a little bloop single by Dan Wilson. Two and two.
Well, he got Edgar to chase that slider last time up to strike him out. But he's not able to start this one towards the plate. These start off the plate, so no way Edgar's going to swing at it. The only way he'll get him to chase it if it starts over the plate for a strike and then breaks off.
Counting is 1 for 2 tonight. Martinez is 4 for 9 in his career against El Duque, and the 2-2 pitch. Fouled away. Martinez had an RBI double in the first inning and struck out on a sweeping slider in the fourth.
You can see he's trying to stretch his elbow. We talked about the fact that he had a sore left elbow, which is your lead arm. And he's trying to stretch it to keep it loose.
A-Rod at second with nobody out. And Martinez fans.
Well, he was able to start that one in the strike zone and let it move out. Well, he starts him out with a first pitch fastball right down the middle. Edgar's upset that he took that one. He misses the change. Slider outside, another slider outside. Then he hits the outside corner with a fastball and he fouls off. Now watch this pitch. It starts in the strike zone and it's a little faster, and Edgar didn't have time enough to wait and make sure it was in the strike zone.
So in one part of the park, they're marking the strikeouts with subway cars. Here it's El Duque, get it, and then the K's. Well, any way you want to express it, 5 strikeouts for El Duque. Tomorrow night, if there is no baseball, you won't want to miss an all-new episode of the Emmy-winning presidential drama, The West Wing. That's tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on NBC. Connors went to the mound. Hernandez stays in to face Olerud with Ibanez on deck. Now they're going to walk Olerud. You think that means that after they get done walking Olerud, that they're also done with Hernandez?
No. You do that a lot of times with a pitcher, but I don't think a guy like Hernandez you would do that with. You bring Stanton in and let him pitch to Olerud, I believe. But
on the other hand, the best move is if you're going to walk a guy, you bring in the pitcher and
right.
let the new pitcher walk him, because then that discharges the responsibility of having to face at least one hitter.
Well, not only that, which is a good point, but not only that, you let him get accustomed to the mound by throwing a few pitches.
I guess there's a couple of schools of thought on that. You bring in a new pitcher and make him throw 4 high and wide, and some people think it throws off his rhythm.
Correct.
But what it also does is that it allows you the freedom to remove him if on the next hitter the opposing manager makes a move. But if it's the very first hitter you face and they bring up a pinch hitter, he's got to face at least the one guy, so you're stuck. I believe this all falls into the category of a moot point because Ibanez is going to bat and Hernandez is going to pitch.
It was heavy, though.
Oh, man. Ibanez is struck out and flied out. Strike 1 to him.
Well, they felt like they could get Ibanez out with fastballs, as I said earlier, and they have been doing that. So he feels more comfortable coming after him with fastballs than he would trying to get Olerud with breaking balls and then missing and having to throw him a fastball. He feels like he has a couple of options with Ibanez that he did not have with Olerud.
The corner 0-2.
Well, he threw him a fastball away, fouls away. Now he goes with a fastball away again. And El Duque is ahead in the count 0-2. Almost came over the top with that fastball.
Guillen, who homered off El Duque, is on deck. Slice to left, that'll make the seats foul. Ibanez, coming off the bench much of the year, hit just .229 with 2 homers and 15 RBIs. In the lineup in right field tonight, as Lou Piniella tries to get as many left-handed bats into the lineup against Hernandez as possible. Exactly 100 pitches. Here's the 0-2. Bounced up there, and Posada blocks it.
We talked about El Duque used his changeup more against left-handed hitters. That's what he tries to do here, and he bounces it, not even close, but that's supposed to be a changeup moving away. Good job by Posada to get in front of it.
The 1-2 pitch. Bounce toward Jeter. He can't handle it, but it bounces right to Soho, who steps on second and can't get him at first. But what a break. It looked like it was going to be bases loaded, but the carom went to Soho, and they salvaged the force.
Good job by Jeter to keep this ball on the infield. He drive for it, but see, that was a funny hop. It was an in-between hop. Nice play by Soho as he grabbed barehands it and then tries to make a throw to first base. And watch this dive. And watch the bounce. It's an in-between hop right there. See it bounce up, and Jeter tries to put both hands on it, just tries to keep it on the infield, which is the proper thing to do with a runner at second base. He keeps it on the infield, and Soho is able to get it out at second base. And Olerud, not the speediest of base runners, is out at second base.
So A-Rod at third, Ibanez at first with 2 down for Guillen.
And remember, Guillen hit a fastball into the upper deck here his last time up, so he quite naturally starts him off with a breaking ball and wants to throw him something other than a fastball.
And I mean, he smoked that fastball. It was gone in an eye blink. The 1-0 pitch. Misses.
There's the changeup. So he definitely doesn't want to throw him a fastball. In the 4th inning, he throws him a fastball in, and Guillen hits it into the second deck. Well, actually, the third deck here, the upper deck. And that gave the Mariners a 4-0 lead at the time.
Now Guillen sitting on a 2-0 pitch with McLemore on deck. 3-0.
And we'll see if Lou Piniella gives Guillen the green light on 3-0. I would say yes. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to hit.
Torre and Hernandez know it too. Called strike. Guillen thought it might have been ball 4.
Well, he got the fastball away, and that's a smart thing to do if you're Guillen. You want a fastball middle in, and this pitch is away, so you can't pull it, so why swing at it? And it is away.
He wheels to third with a bluff. A play that works once in a blue moon.
It was interesting.
Though I can't say I've ever seen a blue moon, for that matter.
It's interesting what the Yankees were doing. They're playing behind Ibanez at first base.
Unless it was Blue Moon Odom. I saw him once.
He was pretty good, too.
The runner breaks from first. There's ball 4. So Ibanez can pull up. The bases are loaded. This is the first time all year that Hernandez has walked as many as 3 in a game.
Well, the Yankees made him run there. When you set Tino Martinez behind the base runner like that, you automatically have to run the guy. And I'm not sure exactly why they did that.
Let me correct what I said. First time all year he's walked more than 3 in a game. That was his 4th. Rodriguez, who opened the inning with a double, is now at third. Ibanez, who hit into a force play, is at second. Guillen, who drew the walk, is at first. McLemore is the hitter with 2 out. The veteran is flied out and grounded out.
With the bases loaded, the first pitch is very, very important. If you're the hitter, McLemore should be sitting dead red here looking for nothing but a fastball. And if he throws you something else, you have plenty of time to get another strike.
Strike one.
Well, he threw him the fastball, but it was a pretty good pitch from El Duque right on the outside edge. Fastball away.
Line drive. Grabbed by Jeter on the short hop. He's got to make the play to first, and he does. The Mariners leave him loaded in the sixth. And it's still a 4-3 game. Not a clean catch. He had to come up throwing to get McLemore. Joe, you've often said shortstop is the most demanding position on the diamond.
And this is a great example of that. Jeter goes to his left, keeps the ball on the infield. Sojo's able to grab it and get one out at second base. And this just saves 2 runs here. Just a diving stop to his right. Now, this is the tough part. He was so strong, has such a strong arm, and he just snaps it over there. Most shortstops have to wind up and fire. He just got up and fired at the first base because he didn't have a shot at the runner at second base.
Brett Tomko back out to work the sixth. Posada, O'Neill, and Sojo to face him. Ball one down and in.
Well, Tomko has not been able to get a breaking ball over since he's been in a ball game. So if you're the Yankee hitters, you go up there and say, I'm going to sit on the fastball and try to hammer one because he's not able to get anything else over the plate.
Fastball on the inside edge, 1-1. I don't think Piniella is going to give Tomko all that much rope in this situation. At the first sign of trouble, I think Piniella and Price are ready to go to the bullpen. A fairly jolly pair considering the tension of the situation and what's at stake. Two and one. Jeter and A-Rod. What a shortstop showcase in this series. There has been some discussion of the possibility that they both could be wearing New York uniforms next year. Posada fouls it back and had a good cut. According to insiders, Rodriguez has chatted with John Olerud, at least a little bit, about what it's like to play for the Mets. That doesn't indicate that the Mets have the inside track, but the Mets are certainly one of the clubs he'll be talking to. You figure the Braves are also on that list, the Dodgers, and the Mariners vow that if it's at all possible, they'll keep him. The 2-2 pitch. Struck him out.
Well, he finally threw us something other than a fastball. That's a changeup, and a beautiful changeup. And he gets Posada swinging. He threw him 2 fastballs, the last one in. Now watch this. Good arm speed. Posada way out in front. Changeup rotation. Ball's moving away from him just a little bit, but the speed is what got him.
Now Paul O'Neill, whose RBI single in the 4th, finished Halama and brought Tomko out of the bullpen. Fastball upstairs. Paniagua has been throwing for a while and now chooses to amuse himself in some other fashion. Tomko's 1-0 pitch. In there.
Good changeup again. He has not been able to control his breaking ball, so he's gone to the changeup. First pitch was a high fastball, and this is a changeup.
Up and into O'Neill, who had 18 homers and exactly 100 RBIs for the regular season. O'Neill's ahead, 3-1. Soho on deck. Remember in Game 5, the slumping O'Neill had the green light on a 3-0 pitch and swung at a pitch low and outside that he could only poke weakly to shortstop. Normally, he's more of a thinking man's hitter than that, but sometimes you press when you're struggling. Had a good rip at the 3-1 pitch and fouls it to the screen.
Well, this is not the normal Paul O'Neill swing, though. He's forcing himself to try to get the barrel out there. And even then, he doesn't quite get it out in front of the plate. Watch where he hits this ball, right on the back of the plate.
So at this stage, the combination of age and especially the injury has slowed his bat speed. It's as simple as that. Where he can't get around on the fastball like he used to. The 3-2 pitch. Sliced down the left field line and in the seats foul.
And so Torrey, he's looking over his lineup card, and Lou Piniello's looking over his. Lou is sitting here saying if he can get Paul O'Neill out and Luis Sojo, I'll be in pretty good shape again. Then he'll have his bullpen set up basically the way that he wants.
Bounce toward the hole. Olerud to his right. Makes a nice play, and Tomko covers.
Good pitch there by Tomko. Pitches down, and O'Neill tries to get to it. And a nice play at first base. Watch, this pitch is actually ball 4. You see how low it is. But O'Neill gets a piece of it and he hits it on the ground in the hole. Nice play here by Olerud. Watch, he goes in the hole to get it. And then he leads Tomko to the first base. It may seem like a little thing, but Tomko gets to first base very well. I mean, he immediately breaks. A lot of times they break late. And that puts pressure on the fielder that's throwing the ball to him. And he breaks very quickly and he gets over and gives you a good target.
You know, the Yankees could win the World Series, underlined could, this year. They could win their 4th championship in 5 years, and normally you don't make big changes after doing something like that. And yet they'll have decisions to make with tested and beloved veterans like Paul O'Neill in right, Tino Martinez at first.
And this may be the point that Lou Piniello has seen enough, because he sees that Tomko is struggling not only to throw strikes, but to get the ball where he wants.
He'd like him to be able to finish off Soho, then he could start the 7th inning with Paniagua. Let Paniagua work into the 8th, or possibly go to Rhodes or someone like that in the 8th and set it up for Sasaki in the 9th. That would be your plan.
Well, that looks like he's going to try to stick to that plan.
Joe is an avid golfer. He played to a 5 or 6 handicap, and that's without cheating. Golf returns to NBC this Saturday at noon Eastern as NBC presents the President's Cup. Tiger Woods leads the Americans on their home soil as they begin their mission to win the Cup back from Greg Norman and the international team. The President's Cup, 12 noon Eastern on NBC. And after the visit to the mound, Tomko gets strike 1 in there to Soho. I was glad to hear that your dad is feeling better.
Good. I mean, I want to say hello to him. My dad, Leonard Morgan, back in Oakland, he taught me all the baseball I learned as a kid. And he's watching. And he's feeling a little bit under the weather for a couple of days, but he's a lot better now. And I thank you. And I'm sure he does too. He's a big baseball fan.
Count runs to 2-2 on Soho. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the 6th. And Seattle, as you see, in front by 1. Soho just hangs in there. Game 7 is pressure-packed, obviously. The very 2 words, Game 7, mean pressure and drama. Smile curling around Pinella's lips. But there's no doubt you don't have to be a genius to realize that there'd be greater pressure in that dugout, where that man, the Game 7 starter, if it goes that far, Andy Pettitte, sits. Fouled off. If Seattle forces a Game 7, it's only the Yankees who can fall beneath expectations and disappoint an entire city, which is salivating for a Subway Series. All the Yankees can do is par it. All they can do is par this hole. That's all.
Correct.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count.
The problem with a Game 7 is anything can happen, and that's we've seen a lot of things happen in Game 7. One bad pitch here, one misplay there, and you can lose the ball game. So the only team that wants a Game 7 obviously are the Seattle Mariners because they think they have a chance. But if you're the Yankees, you want to finish it off today.
Tomko can't finish Soho off. Do you know the last time the Yankees played a Game 7, they played a couple of deciding Game 5s in the division series, 97 against Cleveland, this year against Oakland. But for all the postseason, you know the last time they played a Game 7 in either the LCS or the World Series? No. You weren't even in the big leagues yet, I don't think. What was your first year in the bigs?
65.
It was the year before you came up, 1964, in the World Series. They lost Game 7 at St. Louis against the Cardinals. Another 3-2 pitch and another foul.
And that's why they call this a dynasty, and they also have 27 flags up there, right? They've never had a lot of pressure.
The Mariners have never faced a Game 7. They did win that memorable 5th game in the first round 5 years ago against the Yanks. And there you see the Yankee record. They're trying for their 37th pennant and a chance for their 26th World Series title. In the air to left, Martin going back to the edge of the track and almost against the wall as he backs up to take it. Tomko, not without some difficulty, but nonetheless, sets them down in order in the 6th. And we're back after these messages and a word from your local station. Here's the March 1st game summary. Seattle jumped in front with 2 in the first, RBI doubles by Rodriguez and Martinez. Guillen doubled the advantage with a shot to the upper deck with a man aboard. And then the Yankees came back with 3 in the 4th. But they left runners at first and third with 1 out as Tomko came out of the bullpen to strand them and keep it 4-3. That's where we stand now as El Duque works the 7th.
Like El Duque is not really throwing the ball well, Bob. Those 2 pitches look like he was aiming the ball just to throw a strike.
Two and one now to Wilson.
That's 82-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not his fastball. He's just aiming it, trying to throw a strike here.
Well, the last thing he wants to do is walk Wilson, the number 9 hitter, starting this inning. Now the count levels. Nobody throwing in the Yankee bullpen right now. Supreme confidence in El Duque, who fans Wilson.
And that's a 75-mile-an-hour breaking ball. So he was able to get Wilson, but he's still not throwing very hard. But he knows how to pitch, and you can see that pitch right off the outside corner, and nothing Wilson could do with it.
Javier's 0 for 3, and he takes ball 1. The Yankees have never lost a postseason game in which El Duque has appeared. He's 7-0, and they've also won the no decisions. A little pop to the left side and foul ground. It looks like Brocious will take it, and he does for the second out. We're in the top of the 7th at Yankee Stadium. Bob Costas with Joe Morgan. Seattle led 4-0. The Yankees came back with 3 in the 4th, and it's been 4-3 since.
And we talk about him being smart. He threw Stan Javier a breaking ball away, and then he threw a fastball up and in. Didn't have a lot on the fastball, but he threw it in a great location.
Martin is walked, fouled out, flied out. Strike 1. To get another left-handed bat in, he's replaced Mike Cameron, in effect, in the batting order, although Javier plays Cameron's position tonight in center field. Cameron had been just 8 for 29 in the postseason. There he is. And all 5 of his hits in this series had been singles. Fisted foul. So we asked Cameron what he does when he's in a slump. He said, I went home and I listened to comedy stuff. I listened to Richard Pryor. I listened to Martin Lawrence. And just when he was cracking up and ready to go, Piniella benched him. Nonetheless, he's got some good material to share with his mates in the dugout. The 0-2 pitch. Got him. Hernandez struck out 2 in the inning. 7 now for the game. Stretch time in the Bronx. 4-3 Mariners.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, Tap the Rockies, by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and by March 1st. Here's to being first. March 1st, a new world, a new way. www.march1st.com.
Changes for Seattle. Martin is out of the game. Mike Cameron comes on to play center field. Javier moves from center to left. Cameron will bat in the second spot, the spot on the order vacated by Martin, who made the last out on the top of the 7th, and Jose Paniagua is the new pitcher. Scott Brocious scheduled to lead off in the bottom of the 7th. But Torrey goes to his bench, and Jose Vizcaíno, a switch hitter, will bat for Brocious.
And Paniagua basically throws a fastball and a splitter, but he uses his fastball very well, and 90% of the time.
Ball 1 to Vizcaíno. Paniagua from the stretch. Strike 1, 1-1.
Vizcaíno played a lot down the stretch. He was actually the second baseman while Knobloch was DHing. And then when the playoffs started, Soho played most of the time at second base.
Ground ball. Olerud can't get it. McLemore does. Takes to first, but not in time. So the well-traveled veteran, Jose Vizcaíno, with a leadoff pinch hit to start the 7th.
This is interesting play here. Now watch. Olerud has a chance to catch this ball, but he's running towards second base. Now watch. He lets it go. McLemore makes the play, but by the time he gets it to first base, Vizcaíno runs well, and he's safe.
So here's a double plus for Joe Torre. Brocious has been slumping, only 1 RBI in both the division series and LCS combined. Now he cheers for the man who replaced him, so not only does Vizcaíno reach, but he's a faster runner than Brocious. And when the Yankees go out to play the 8th, Vizcaíno will be at second base and Soho will move from second to third.
I think you have to bunt Knobloch in this situation. You have to try to...
He squares, he bunts it foul.
And it's not easy to bunt a guy like Paniagua, who throws about 90 miles an hour with some movement. Knobloch drops the bat underneath, and that's why he pops it up. A lot of times when a hitter's going to bunt, you try to throw the fastball up because that's the toughest pitch to bunt. You usually will pop it up.
Vizcaíno back easily. Knobloch at the plate. 0 for 3 tonight. The one sacrifice bunt is misleading because Knobloch can bunt. He's always hit at or near the top of the lineup. He squares again. He gets it down. A beauty up the first base line. Wilson's throw just in time to McLemore covering. And Vizcaíno is in scoring position with 1 out.
Wilson made a nice play, but he didn't get a lot on the throw, and Knobloch almost beats it out. Now watch, Wilson doesn't make a hard throw to first base. Kind of throws it off balance, and he barely gets it there in time.
And a difficult throw in that he doesn't have much room with Knobloch hugging the line.
But you have to give Knobloch credit. He ran outside of the baseline, because if he hits it, if he's in the baseline and the ball hits him, they can call it, call him for interference. But he ran in the box. He was on the outside of the line there.
Knobloch should know that rule better than anybody. The shoe was on the other foot, or the glove was on the other hand. He was in the field, remember, a couple of years ago when Travis Fryman had the ball hit him in the LCS against Cleveland. And Knobloch fell asleep on the play, argued it, while a live ball rolled into foul territory. All right, here's Jeter. Taking strike 1.
Paniagua has a good sinking fastball. You can see there. The bottom fell out of that, and it was about 90 miles an hour.
Paniagua's 0-1 pitch. After checking Vizcaíno, he comes in tight on Jeter. Vizcaíno pinch hitting for Brocious, beat out an infield hit. Knobloch sacrificed him to second. Fouled away, 1-2. Paniagua started with the Expos. He's been with the Mariners the past 3 years. Jeter's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Paniagua not only has gotten him out, he struck him out almost every time. Two balls and two strikes.
Well, if you're Lou Piniella, you're going to have a decision to make anyway. If you're able to get Jeter out, then you have David Justice up. You've got Arthur Rhodes throwing in the pen.
The 2-2 pitch. And Jeter hangs in. There's Rhodes, who was roughed up the last time he worked from the Yankee Stadium mound in the 8th inning of Game 2. Bouncing ball left side. It gets through. Vizcaíno had retreated to second and can only make third. A little trickler that got in between Guillen and Rodriguez. But Vizcaíno wasn't sure. And the Yankees have runners in the corners now with one out.
Well, the ball wasn't hit hard, but he jammed him, but he found the left side hole between short and third. Well, Vizcaíno can't go because if the ball is hit and Guillen catches right there, he can go, but he's already going back. But he wouldn't have been able to score anyway. You have to break right away if you're going to be able to score on a ground ball like that. And I guess Lou Piniella says sometimes he comes to the mound, he's not sure about what he's going to do. He's taking a long time to get out there, but I guess he is sure this time.
He's taken the baseball from Paniagua. He wants Rhodes, and they both must be steamed. Little infield hit, little trickler, a sacrifice, but that's all that's needed to finish Paniagua.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Joe, Arthur Rhodes and David Justice have a history, a recent history.
Well, in Game 2, Justice started a 7-run 8th inning with a double, a high fastball, and he hits it off the wall in the left center field. But on Sunday, he got a chance to face Justice again, and he strikes him out with a curveball diving down and away. So expect to see Arthur Rhodes try to get ahead of Justice so that he can throw him the curveball and get him out with.
And there's the whole book in terms of Rhodes and Justice. 4 for 11 with a homer. Vizcaíno is at third. Jeter is at first. Justice, who's 1 for 3, is at the plate with 1 out.
I don't think they'll run Jeter in this situation. They're going to give Justice a chance to drive in the tying run from third rather than risk having Jeter thrown out trying to steal the base.
He lays off and takes a ball.
Lou Piniella said Rhodes can throw Justice a fastball. He just has to keep it down.
Rhodes, the longtime Oriole. Yankee fans remember him well. This is his first year with Seattle. His 1-0 pitch to Justice. Taken high.
One thing about the Yankees, they just keep coming after you, and that's why they're such a good ball club. They were behind 4-0, and they just have come back to a 4-3. Now they've stayed one run back for the last 3 innings. Now all of a sudden, here they are putting pressure on you again here in the 7th.
Swing and a pop that's out of play.
Well, he gets a fastball, but this one is down a little bit and moving away from him. And Justice not able to get all of it. Moving away, and he fouls it off. He contacted right out in front of the plate. Good swing.
The 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike. They checked down at third. He didn't go around. Mark Hirschbeck confirming the initial judgment of brother John Hirschbeck back at the plate.
Well, Justice has an idea, but he's able to stop the bat. The Mariners bench thought he went.
Now Justice sitting on a 3-1 pitch, which is coming. Swinging a long drive to right. This one is on its way. This one is gone.
Coming after you time and time again, and you cannot afford to make any mistakes.
What was once a 4-run Seattle lead has gone up in smoke in a pair of 3-run innings, the 4th and now the 7th. And for Rhodes, Justice was not tempered by mercy. A strike to Williams. You think about this inning, and Lou Piniella will for the entire winter unless the Mariners rally. A dinky little infield hit by Vizcaíno. A nice sacrifice bunt by Knobloch. A seeing-eye single by Jeter, and he has to take Paniagua out. At least he thought he did. He brings in Rhodes, and Justice burned him, just as he has 2 out of 3 times in this series now, just as he has in many of their head-to-head confrontations. Well, and this year against left-handers, Justice has homered about once every 9 at-bats. So, as every big league manager knows, their moves are apt to be questioned. This one will be, and Piniella knows it.
Well, he figured he had to get the left-hander in there against Justice, but as you mentioned, Justice has had a lot of success off of Rhodes before. and Rhodes not able to get the curveball over, put him in jeopardy.
Williams goes the opposite way, and it kicks up chalk down the line. He rounds first, but he's held there as Ibanez is on it quickly.
Fastball up and away, and Williams gets on top of it and hits it inside the line. But the ball ricochets right to Ibanez, and he's able to hold Bernie Williams to a single.
Not only have the Mariners surrendered the lead, but they are at most 1 inning away from Mariano Rivera. Mesa up in the Seattle bullpen. So as a practical matter, they may be down to 3 outs to get back into this.
Well, there's Mariano Rivera getting up now. And maybe El Duque has a charmed life. He was trailing 4-0 in this ball game. Now he leads 6-4.
Hit the opposite way by Martinez, and it lands fair. Bounces into the seats for a double. There's really been only one ball truly hit hard in this inning. Of course, that ball was really blistered by Justice.
Fastball away. Tino just gets enough of it to get it down the line. It appeared that it might curve foul, but it stays fair. You can see it slashing away toward the line, but it's well in the fair territory, and it bounces into the stands, which means it's a ground rule double.
Price, the pitching coach, who's at the mound. Seattle jumped on El Duque with 2 in the first. RBI doubles by Rodriguez and Martinez. Carlos Guillen, one of the lineup moves made by Pinella tonight to try to get extra left-handed bats in against the Yankee right-hander. Hit one into the upper deck with a man out on the 4th. They led it 4-0. The Yankees got 3 in their half of the inning. But Tomko left runners at first and third with only 1 out coming out of the pen. And they nursed that 4-3 lead into the 7th when the Yankees exploded once more. They're going to walk Posada. Which means that Rhodes will stay in to face O'Neill unless they pinch hit for O'Neill. You think about the Yankees at mid-season being interested in Sammy Sosa and then in Juan Gonzalez, and eventually they, quote, settled for David Justice. Seems that has turned out pretty well.
But Justice came over and did a great job. He hit 20 home runs and drove in 60 runs, which was the most of anyone on the Yankees after he arrived. And a lot of people felt that he was their most valuable player at that point.
O'Neill is 1 for 3, an RBI single in the 4th. A hit here would bust it open. Rhodes works to it.
And he lays off ball one.
First pitch to Paul O'Neill is down and out of the strike zone.
A bouncing ball toward the hole and through. Williams scores. Martinez being waved home. Ibanez's throw to the plate is offline. It's 8-4 New York.
Well, it's another ground ball. It finds a hole, but guess what? They put the ball in play, and they find some holes. And Paul O'Neill grounds this ball into right field. It hits sharply enough that it goes through it past the diving Mark McLemore. And Ibanez's throw is not in time as two more runs come in to score. And the Yankees are trying to put this one away.
Category of closing the barn door. After all the horses have come stampeding out, Piniella removes Rhodes and goes to Mason. Well, the last three were enormous. And it's not that much of a surprise that Justice is the career leader in LCS RBIs. He's always been with good teams, the Braves, the Indians, now the Yankees. He's been in the playoffs virtually every season. On comes Mesa. But the Yankees are about to bring on the Mets. Soho's the ninth man to bat. And there's still only one out.
And if you're the Yankees, Paul O'Neill had a chance to hit against the left-handed pitcher, and he was able to come through with a base hit. True enough, it wasn't a sharp line drive, but it's a base hit.
Two and 0. If Seattle had been able to hold this lead, the Mets would have spent the night wondering whether or not they'd have to fire up a charter to Seattle instead of just hop on the subway. It's beginning to look as if the first subway series in 44 years will commence here in this ballpark Saturday night. Games 1 and 2 are in the American League City. The middle games 3, 4, 5 will be at Shea. And 6 and 7, if necessary, back in the American League City. Mesa falls behind 3-0 and complicates matters by walking Soho to load the bases.
Started everything off, and he's back up again.
How often do big innings start with little things? This Caeno's infield hit, following Knobloch's nifty sacrifice, a little trickler through the left side by Derek Jeter, which prompted Piniella to remove Paniagua, bring on Rhodes, whose 3-1 pitch was crushed by Justice, which seems to have effectively crushed the pennant hopes of the Mariners.
Well, David Justice has had a lot of big hits in the postseason. He had the home run in Game 7 to give the Atlanta Braves their first World Championship.
In left field, Javier makes the catch. Posada tags, and there's no play on him. on another. It's a 6-run 7 and a 9-4 lead. So how important has Vizcaino been off the bench?
Well, Joe Torre made the decision to pinch hit for Scott Brocious, who had been struggling, and gave Vizcaino a chance, and he came in and he did the job.
In this inning for Joe, pinch hit single, and he scored. And now a sacrifice fly. A strike to Knobloch. So in game 2, El Duque trailed 1-0 when his teammates came up in the bottom of the 8th. They exploded for 7. He got the win. He is the pitcher of record as they score 6 times in the bottom of the 7th here. Rolled foul. So, barring a Seattle miracle, Hernandez stands to see his career postseason record go to 8-0.
Well, he impressed me tonight because he didn't have his great stuff. He didn't have his great control, but he used his smarts. Because I felt in the 7th inning he had run out of gas, but he was able to reach back at just enough on his fastball and spot it well so that he was able to get out of the inning.
The 0-2 pitch taken high. The man of the hour in the Bronx. Justice was an important part of both those big innings. Leadoff double in game 2. Turnaround 3-run homer here in game 6. Smiles for Justice and the hitting coach, Chris Chambliss. And the 1-2 pitch from Mesa to Knobloch, blocked by Wilson. Full count, and the runners will be on the move. Jeter on deck. There they go, and here it comes, and they're loaded again.
And when you look at this ball club, the Yankees, you look at their lineup, and you try to think how they match up against the New York Mets. And the Mets are going to have 2 left-handed pitchers, Hampton and Leiter, who will pitch at least 4 of those 7 games if it goes 7. And I still think that left-handed pitchers have a better chance against the Yankees than the right-handers do.
Unless they're named Arthur Rhodes in this series.
Correct.
Well, it certainly applies, or seems to. 6 outs away from the long-awaited Subway Series. 0-2 now to Jeter. on deck. O'Neill at third, Soho at second, Knobloch at first. 6 runs home in the 7th. And with 2 out, the 0-2 pitch to Jeter. Got him looking. But the Yankees score 6 times on 6 hits, and this was the biggest one. A 3-run homer on a 3-1 pitch, which changed it from 4-3 Seattle to 6-4 New York. It's 9-4 now. Very eventful. It included Don Larson's perfect game in Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. The last hit of Jackie Robinson's career won Game 6 for the Dodgers. In Game 7, Yogi Berra hit 2 home runs at Ebbets Field, and Johnny Cooks pitched a shutout. Robinson was the last out. Strike 3 got away from Berra. He threw to first. And the Yankees had won the World Series 4-3. The 7 train will take you to Shea. The 4 train to the Bronx and Yankee Stadium. In 1956, the subway token was 15 cents. It's 10 times that now. It's $1.50. Meanwhile, El Duque goes right back out there. Vizcaíno is at second. He started the ruckus in the 7th with a pinch hit. Soho moves from second to third. Brocious is out of the game.
And of course, that 6-run inning has given El Duque a little more life.
Meanwhile, this could be Alex Rodriguez's last at-bat as a Seattle Mariner, depending upon what happens in the offseason. And he drives one to deep left. Back near the wall and gone. Well, if that's the way he says goodbye, he does it with some style. Taking Hernandez deep to make it 9-5.
Well, he's been trying to get Rodriguez out the entire evening with fastballs up. And I think his fastball is lost just enough that Rodriguez is able to get to this high fastball, and he hits it over the wall in left center field. He gets it up again, but just not enough on it.
What a game for A-Rod. 3 for 4, 2 doubles and a homer, and a sparkling defensive play thrown in. He is some player. And even if you think that some of the salaries in baseball are a little crazy, nobody deserves the dough more than that kid does. If he winds up being the highest paid player in baseball, and most people think he will, at least until the next go-round when the market gets reestablished, you can't quibble with it. 25 years old, and many people will tell you he's the best position player in baseball. Two and one to Edgar Martinez. See Don Zimmer right there? How can you miss him? He played in the last Subway Series. He was a member of the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1956. Martinez skies one down the line in right field. O'Neill toward the foul line. No play. Let's check in with Jimmy Roberts.
Well, Bob, as you mentioned, Don Zimmer played in that 1956 World Series. As a matter of fact, he is the only man remaining in a major league uniform who played in that last Subway Series. He said it's hard to describe the feeling, but all these years later, he thinks it would be wilder than ever. He said he was rooting for a Subway Series last year, and he's rooting for one this year, if for no other reason than he's tired of traveling. You might also remember that Don Zimmer was the opening day third baseman for the Mets when they first started. And he says the way they played back then, he thought it'd be 1,000 years before they ever got to the series.
All right, Jimmy. Well, they're going to the series without Jesse Gonder and Elio Chacon and Rod Canneel. They've upgraded a bit. But those old Mets of Casey Stengel sure were fun. They won 40 and lost 120. in their first year. And that's without making up a couple of rainouts. Martinez draws a walk.
And out comes Joe Torre. They're not going to let Hernandez sit out there and struggle in this situation.
So he'll ask Rivera to get 6 outs, huh?
Well, he's rested. And it doesn't take him long to get many outs.
He doffs the cap and leaves to a standing ovation. He threw 128 pitches before turning it over to Rivera. Aerial coverage from the Bud 1 airship delivered fresh daily from a brewery near you. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Well, here comes Mr. Automatic. Unscored upon in his last 23 postseason appearances. A streak which, as you see, now stretches to 33 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. It's a postseason record if you choose to combine the World Series and the playoffs. Whitey Ford threw 33 straight scoreless innings in the early 60s, all in the World Series. Rivera was very gracious upon breaking the record. He said, "I've met Whitey Ford. He's a nice man. I'm glad that the record stays in the Yankee family."
Well, as long as they keep getting in the World Series, he will probably have 33 scoreless innings in the World Series before it's over.
He turns it up a notch in October. There were times when he appeared almost hittable during this regular season, but not when it's counted most.
What makes him so great is he has great control with great velocity and movement on his pitches.
Olerud is flied out, doubled, had an intentional walk. You know who held that World Series scoreless innings streak before Whitey Ford broke it?
Yes, another Yankee.
Actually, he did it for the Red Sox, though.
Oh, but Babe Ruth, I mean, but we don't think of him as a Red Sox.
Or as a pitcher, for that matter.
Yeah.
There it is. A ball and a strike to Olerud. Rivera was initially scouted as a shortstop. They didn't think he'd hit enough, converted him to pitcher. He was a starter in the minors. 2-1 to Olerud. When he first came up, John Wetland was the Yankee closer, and Rivera was a devastating setup man. But the presence of Rivera allowed the Yankees to let Wetland go as a free agent and hand the closer's role to this slender Panamanian. His 2-1 pitch is hit hard to deep right field. Turning is O'Neill, and this ball is off the wall. Olerud heading for second, in with a double. And the Mariners make some noise in the 8th. Second and third, nobody out.
What was it that other famous Yankee said? Yogi Berra.
It ain't over.
It's never over till it's over. And this is a cut fastball that doesn't get in. And Olerud rips it to right field, and it just misses going out of the ballpark as it hits off the wall, the top of the wall, and he's in the second with a double. And what you try to do if you're the Mariners, just get the tying run to the plate,
which they are one base runner from doing. Up and into Ibanez. Rodriguez homered. Edgar Martinez walked. That finished Hernandez. Olerud clouts a double off the wall in right center to greet Rivera. Second and third, nobody out. And a ball and a strike now to Ibanez. For the record, Martinez at third belongs to Hernandez. So the runner at second would have to score to snap Rivera's postseason streak. But a base hit here makes it a game again. Into shallow right field. Coming in is O'Neill. He makes the catch. And nobody's going anywhere. Now it's Carlos Guillen, who had a long home run off Hernandez back in the fourth.
Everyone, left-handed hitters, right-handed hitters, everyone knows exactly what Rivera is going to do. The trouble is, unless he makes a mistake, you can't handle him. He always throws the cut fastball in on the hands of the left-handed hitter. And the cut fastball away from the right-handed hitters.
Up and into Guillen, in addition to his home run, has walked twice tonight. McLemore on deck. Bouncer, back to Rivera. He holds the runners, and he throws him out. This guy's so tough, he doesn't even want other people's runners to score.
Well, it's a cut fastball, but it doesn't get in. Guillen had a chance to hit that one, but he broke his bat and grounded it back to Rivera. As you see, bounces off the mound very quickly and makes the play.
You know, who's to say if the pitching pattern would be the same or if Torrey's moves would have been exactly the same, but it shows you how often the wind goes out of a team's sails. You think a game is over when the lead changes hands, but had it remained 6-4, the bases were empty, obviously, after Justice's home run. If the Mariners just hold on there, this could be very, very interesting now.
Correct.
Something for Piniella to chew on during the offseason. McLemore hits it hard. It hits the bag and bounds into right field. 2 runs will score. And it's a 9-7 game. The tying run comes to the plate. And the run that could bring them to within 1 is in scoring position.
As I said, you know where he's going to throw you. It's going to be a cut fastball in. McLemore is able to get the barrel of the bat out there on that inside cut fastball. And it hits the bag and bounces over the head of Tino Martinez. And 2 runs come in to score, and that also breaks Mariano Rivera's scoreless streak. The ball hits the bag. You see Tino diving for it. It's a fair ball. And the Mariners have scored 3 runs here in the 8th inning.
And up comes the former Yankee, Jay Buhner, to bat for Dan Wilson. He hit 26 home runs this year. Big cut and a miss at a high fastball. Now, officially, Rivera's streak is over. He recorded 2 outs. 34 innings. That's where it ends. A ball and a strike. Well, the Mariners have closed it back up, and even if they don't score again here in the 8th, they've got to approach the 9th with more confidence than they'd ordinarily feel against Rivera. Down the right field line and out of play. Sasaki gets up. No doubt he'll pitch the bottom of the 8th in an effort to keep it close. By the way, Seattle has turned the batting order over. A-Rod is guaranteed to get another turn at bat. If one more man reaches, Martinez will bat again before this game ends. The 1-2. is high.
Well, that's what they want to do. They want to try to get Jay Buhner on a high fastball. He swung at the first one, and then they made a mistake and got the ball down, and he almost hit it out of the ballpark. They fouled it off, but then they go back upstairs again.
Fouled out of play. Buhner hit his 26 home runs in fewer than 400 at-bats. The clock has struck midnight. Exactly 12 o'clock. The 2-2. Struck him out. Through the high heat by him. Buhner was the tying run at the plate. But the Mariners have made it interesting again. 9-7 New York. Here's a look at the Morgan Stanley Dean Witter well-connected play of the game. It's the 3-run homer by Justice off Rhodes in the 7th. Now Justice leads off against Mesa in the bottom half of the 8th. Is it a little surprising to you that Piniella has not gone to Sasaki here?
Well, I thought he was going to go to Sasaki. So the answer is yes.
New catcher, they pinch hit for Wilson in the top of the 8th with Buhner. So now Oliver will finish up behind the plate. Two and one to Justice. Piniella hoping that Mesa can hold the fort here. And if his team rallies in the top of the 9th and ties it or takes the lead, then he goes to Sasaki. In there, 2-2. But that may turn out to be a weapon Piniella never gets to use tonight. Mesa, the longtime Indian closer. His 2-2 pitch to Justice, and he struck him out.
You mentioned the fact that after Justice hit the home run, he was still only a 6-4 ball game, but the Yankees did not stop there. I think that's the key. They were not just happy to take the lead, they wanted to add to the lead, and they did so by scoring 3 more runs that inning. You see the fastball in under the hands of Justice.
Piniella has the top of his order due in the top of the 9th. Javier, then Cameron, who came into the game late, and then Rodriguez. Bernie Williams with 1 out. Takes a ball. And then, as ever, steps out, checks the situation, and settles back in. That one's in there. And Bernie steps back out. On some of the strolls some of these guys take, you wonder why they don't come back with the morning paper and a latte.
Well, Mesa's throwing the ball well, though, Bobby. I guess that's why Lou Piniella decided to stay with him. But I'm like you, I thought he would go to Sasaki.
Inside, 2-1. Hey, this has been a great and exciting ball game. It's got a little bit of everything. But even if the Yankees don't bat, this is going to be an 8.5 inning game. It's going to take 4 hours to play. TV commercials are part of it, but the dawdling has something to do with it too.
This one's a little different. They also have 20 base hits, and it is, at least it's 9-7.
Right.
We had one the other day that was 2-0. It was close to 3 hours plus.
3:40. Fouled away. Hey, but it's still baseball. What else would you rather be doing?
Me, this is where I'd rather be.
But considering the length of games these days, if it is a Subway Series, it's a good thing the Subway runs 24 hours. Mace's 2-2 pitch. Full count. Come back to us, Bernie. It's 8 minutes past midnight. You know what most kids' memory of this game is going to be? A great game with all kinds of excitement. What they see on ESPN Sports Center. Struck him out.
Good pitch by Mesa. Again, he's throwing the ball well, and I guess that's why Lou decided to leave him out there. Another good fastball that he strikes a left-hander out with. Here's a fastball down and in on Bernie Williams. He got David Justice on a similar pitch. And Mesa is 1 out away from giving the Mariners their final chance in the 9th inning and being only 2 runs down.
And if he gets that out, this move will have worked for Piniella.
Correct.
Because he'll still have Sasaki in his pocket.
And that's obviously what he was thinking about. Said, if I tie it, then what do I do? So he's figuring maybe if he can get through this inning with Mesa, and then they tie it or go ahead, he has Sasaki ready.
Martinez lofts one into shallow center. Cameron coming on. And the Yankees go down 1-2-3 in the 8th. Setting the stage for Rivera and the Mariner ninth with a 2-run lead.
NBC's coverage of the American League Championship Series is brought to you by Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Move your money. Get well connected. By Chevrolet. If only everything was as dependable as a Chevy, Chevy will be there. And by MySAP.com. The best run e-businesses run MySAP.com.
Here's the good news for Seattle. In the 8th, they proved that Rivera was human. The bad news is they've got to do it again in the 9th.
Well, they have the top of the order. This is about all you could hope for. They'll have Javier, Martin, and Rodriguez, and then Edgar Martinez and Olerud. So they're probably their best shot at scoring a couple of runs here against Rivera.
Javier's 0 for 4 as he takes a strike. New left fielder for the Yanks. Justice out. Clay Bellinger in. Mike Cameron will be next, then A-Rod. A little nubber up the first base line. Covering is Rivera, and Martinez gets it to him.
Well, Javier and Martin are the key hitters in this inning because Cameron, I'm sorry, they're going to pinch, or they're going to let him hit. These are the key hitters because if someone can get on base for A-Rod and Edgar, that gives them their best shot at tying this ball game, but they're the power hitters in this lineup.
Cameron hit .267 for the year. Not as effective in the playoffs. Ball one high. Takes a strike. in the LCS. Cameron is 2 for 17. That's 118. And he struck out 7 times. Hit softly into right. O'Neill coming on and gets there.
Talked to Joe Torre earlier, and he said, you know, we asked if does Rivera ever get excited? He said he doesn't show it in here, and he definitely doesn't show it on the mound.
Torre hasn't shown it much, but he broke down in tears after the division series win against Oakland. Only A-Rod stands between the Yanks and another trip to the World Series. 1 out from their 37th pennant. But it's a big out, and if he reaches, Martinez would be the tying run at the plate. A ball and a strike. You think there's a rush on the token booths about now? People stocking up on those tokens. A bouncer. Charging Soho. Can't handle it. The tying run will come to the plate. And the magnificent Rodriguez is 4 for 5.
Well, this is all you could hope for if you're the Mariners, just to get the tying run to the plate. When you were down 8-4, you said 9-4, this ball game may be over. But all you try to do is bring the tying run to the plate and give yourself a chance to tie it with one swing, and they've done that.
Seattle bench reacting to the fact that they now have at least a chance. Brocious is one of the best there is at making that charging play, coming in barehanded, but with Rodriguez running, I'm not sure even Brocious would have gotten him. Rodriguez takes off. They concede the base. It's strike 1, and Rodriguez pulls in at second.
And a lot of people may wonder, why would you steal a base in that situation? What you're trying to do is make sure you give it, if Edgar hits the ball in the hole, they will not have a force out at second base.
A slow roller, but Martinez doesn't run well. Jeter up with it. Starts spreading the news. New York, New York. baseball paradise right now. Subway Series for the first time since 1956. Since the year of Don Larson's perfect game. Since the year of the Brooklyn Dodgers' last pennant. Since the year of Mickey Mantle's Triple Crown. Joe Torre with his wife Allie. The clock had moved past midnight before the valiant Mariners finally were disposed of, and now it's bring on the Mets.
Bob, when this series started, we talked about the heart of a champion. Tell you what, they also have a lot of character, and I think that's why you see Joe Torre as emotional as he is. He knows that this team is not the best team that he's had here, but he knows that they have a lot of heart and they have a lot of character. They showed it right down to the final of this series. And they'll show heart in the World Series against the New York Mets.
Jimmy Roberts is with Dave Justice.
Well, thanks, Bob. And Dave Justice, you're no stranger to postseason heroics, having hit home runs in the World Series before. Have you hit a home run, though, in a more pressure-packed situation than that one tonight?
I tell you what, I never thought I'd ever hit a home run that would feel as good as the home run I hit in Game 6 in '95 to win the World Series. But that home run that I hit tonight, I mean, it was right up there with that one that I hit, because just to see this place explode, and also, we really needed it, we really needed it. And, I mean, we battled hard, we've been written off, and for us to come out tonight and not get down when they jumped ahead of us 4-0, we stayed in there, we kept battling, and then you saw what kind of team they had by continuing to put the pressure on us. And what a great series, what a great game, and we're moving on.
You are known as a home run hitter. Have you ever hit a ball any harder than that?
I don't think in a pressure situation or in a game this big, no.
You're from Cincinnati. Can you appreciate what it means to this city for one team to play another team from this city? Does it have any meaning to you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, they've been looking for this matchup for a long time. And the Mets and Yankees, New York's going to be on fire for the next week and a half.
What about you coming to this team late? They had already won 3 world championships. You come in as a replacement, as a fix-it part. Did you have any idea that you would have a role as significant as it turned out to be?
Well, no, not really, because, I mean, before all of us got here, they had already won 3 out of the last 4 World Series. So they were already a great ball club. We all just didn't want to come in here and mess up the mix. And that was our intention, just don't mess with the mix, do the best we can individually, and hopefully we can help the team.
This night was almost a microcosm of the entire year. You never got it done the easy way, and it was difficult tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It hasn't been easy at all. Teams have played us very tough. The Mariners have a great ball club, and they played us tough. But, I mean, it's very special to win it here at home. And I'm kind of glad we didn't clinch it at their place, because then we would have missed all this.
All right, Dave Justice, congratulations. Thanks for stopping by. Bob, back to you.
Thanks, Jimmy. For the record, Dave Justice is the Chevy most valuable player of the game. And now for the official presentations, we go downstairs once again to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. For the 37th time, the Yankees have won the pennant, and for the 4th time in the last 5 years, they will be going to the World Series. Accepting the trophy for management and the ownership will be Hal Steinbrenner, Lon Trost, Steve Swindell, and Paul Beeston from Major League Baseball, the chief operating officer, and the president will present the trophy, as well as to Brian Cashman, the general manager, and Joe Torre.
Thank you very, very much. This is a real pleasure and honor for the 4th time in 5 years to Joe and to Brian, Hal and Lon and Randy. On behalf of the 13 other owners of Major League, American League, and of Major League Baseball and Commissioner Seeley, please accept this and best wishes and congratulations.
Joe? Come on now. Come on in, Joe.
Get over there, Brian.
Brian, before you get away, let us ask you this question. When it came down to Sammy Sosa, Juan Rodriguez, and David Justice, you pulled the trigger on Justice. I guess that looks pretty darn good tonight, doesn't it?
Well, we asked a lot of people in the organization, scouts, our skipper here, the boss, and everybody was on board and said Justice was the guy and let's do it. And so we went ahead and did it. And we're fortunate that it's worked out. We're happy as hell that he's a Yankee.
Here comes the champagne, Joe. You're getting used to this.
That's all right. You never get used to it, Jim. Believe me, it's always brand new when it happens, believe me.
You were 22-3 last 2 years in the postseason, including the World Series. This year, you've already lost 5. Why is it getting tougher?
As long as the result's the same, we really don't care. You know, we had to fight a little bit hard. I can't say fight hard. These guys have always worked hard, but it wasn't as easy for us this year. And when it came down to the day, we were very tense going into today's game. You know, the off day yesterday, even though people think you want to rest, I think these guys were all miserable. They would rather have played yesterday. And boy, El Duque hung tough. And of course, the big 3-run home run from Justice.
What's going through your mind? 4-0. Are you starting to think about a Game 7?
Well, no, I won't allow. It's too early in the game for that. I just felt I liked our approach on Halama. We had talked about it going into tonight's game. We weren't as patient as we were tonight the last time out, and I thought it was important we think in small bites, because that's what we're all about. I felt the last time out we were all trying to hit home runs, and this time out we took the walk, we took the base hit, and we were able to break through.
How about the Mets? The city will be going absolutely nuts. It's the first time in 44 years that 2 New York teams have faced each other.
Well, I want to congratulate them. That's Fred Wilpon, Bobby Valentine. It's going to be exciting. I know one thing. We play the interleague games, and I was always against that because I thought we made too much of it, but now you're not making too much of it.
You've been successful. You've won 11 of 18 and 4 of 6 this year, but let me ask you about your pitching rotation for this.
Not yet, Jim. Not yet. Let me enjoy this for a day or so, and then we'll put it down on paper and figure it out.
And, Joe, how are you going to handle it? Because everybody's going to want to know. Of course, Mike Piazza and Roger Clemens in that incident, is that going to have some tension going into this series?
You know, let's hope that everybody sees this for what it is. It's going to be a great World Series. You know, the last one, what was it, 1956? That's a long time ago, and I was at that ball game, and Don Larson pitched the perfect game against Brooklyn. It's been a long time coming, and the Mets-Yankees, it's going to be exciting for the city.
Joe, stick around for the MVP. Congratulations to you. Paul Beeston will now present the Lee McPhail MVP trophy to Dave Justice.
Thank you very, very much, Jim. It's my honor and pleasure to present the award to Dave Justice. 2 home runs, 4 runs scored, 8 RBIs. David, congratulations on a great series. Please accept this award for the great series in memory of you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow.
You've been in a lot of places. What does this mean to you, standing up here and receiving this?
It's the first time I've ever gotten one of these. It's very special because, I mean, this team had been written off, you know, and we continued to stick together, battle through every series. And, you know, we kept grinding it. And it's very special for us. Seattle has a great ball club, and we knew it would be tough. And it was tough tonight, as you can see, when they kept trying to come back on us. So it was just great to see us, you know, down 4-0, keep battling. I mean, that's one thing we said. Even if we get down, let's keep battling, and we did it, and it's very special now.
Let me ask you, this team lost 7 straight going into the playoffs. Were there some doubts that this team might not be able to advance and go as far as they have already?
Well, you know, you always have doubts, especially when you're not playing that well. But every team goes through a tough period throughout the season. And we were just hoping that our tough period was at the end of the season. And like I said, you know, I mean, you start to feel like maybe things aren't going to go right for you, but we turned it around.
Back to another World Series. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Joe, let me just ask you one other quick thing, a couple of things. El Duque tonight. What is with this guy in the postseason?
I'll tell you, he hung tough. And before I forget, you can't forget, I congratulate Lou Piniella and that Mariner Club. They wouldn't quit. I mean, we got 5 runs up on them in the 8th inning, and then they kept coming at us. But El Duque, he hung tight. He wanted that 8th inning so bad, and I wanted him to have it so bad, and I couldn't go past 2 hitters, though.
Mel Stottlemyre, I know, has been a very important person in your life. He's been very important to this team. What are your thoughts toward him tonight as he's sitting home and watching?
Oh, you bet he is. And Mel, this baby's for you. It wasn't easy, but you know, now start lining up the pitches for the series, okay? He's been an inspiration, even though he hasn't been here. He's feeling good. I talked to him earlier today, and I'll be calling him as soon as we finish here.
Joe, congratulations to you. Good luck in the World Series.
Thanks, Jim.
Derek Jeter, come on in. Congratulations to you. This is just becoming like part of the season for you, just to go to the World Series every time. Seems like you're in it.
I don't know about that. You know, I've been real fortunate, you know, to be going to the 4th one in 5 years. But you can't take something like this for granted because you never know if you're going to get another opportunity.
Can the position be better played
than the display that you and Alex Rodriguez put on in this series at shortstop?
Well, I mean, you can't say enough about what Alex has been able to do. He tried to carry himself there in this game. And that team, you tip your hat to the Seattle Mariners because they never gave up. You know, we had that huge lead. They battled back. They were in it to the 9th inning. So, you know, fortunately for us, we got a guy by the name of Rivera.
How much do you feel, however, for your best friend, Alex, to be in this situation, to be so close and not be able to advance?
Well, you know, I wish him the best. Anytime we watching him on TV, just not when we're playing against him. You know, he's going to have a long career. You know, you don't know what the future's going to hold for him, but I'm sure he'll be in this situation again.
And now you've got the Mets coming up. New York versus New York. You guys have had some success against them. You've won 4 of 6 this year. What are your thoughts about going up against the Mets?
Well, I think everyone on both teams wanted to shy away from answering those questions until we found out who we're going to play. But, you know, now it's inevitable. We're playing the Mets. They have a great team. You know, obviously the best team in the National League. So hopefully we can go out and have some fun and win another one.
Does the rivalry mean something more significant, more special to you, or do you view this as just another World Series? Just another World Series, I guess.
Yeah, you can't really say just another World Series. This city's going to be crazy. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can come out on top, but it's going to be 2 great teams. We'll battle and see what happens.
All right, Derek. Congratulations. Good luck in the World Series. All right, back upstairs to Bob Costas.
Jim, thanks very much. You know, you have to believe that while fans of both teams are looking forward to it eagerly, Met fans may have wanted this more than Yankee fans. The Yankees have more to lose. They are the defending champions. They are the team with the longer and richer history. The Mets